Crypto doesn't have to be strong for these guys to look strong. It's a big time gap fill. It's a lot of work for it to get to 180, but if you see this on the 15-minute looking good, one more close, then we'll try to get that long. We got Obi filling in for Sharif, so it should be a treat for everybody. We got Joey options. We've got Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll be back at 2 o'clock, everybody. Cheers.
Hey. My new thing here, Obi, this. You make it square.
Am I doing it right?
Yeah, and then you flip, and then you can flip it to another square.
Flip. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Flip game strong.
Flip game strong, man. Go. What's going on, everyone? All right, let's get this chat up here and see what we got going on. Joey options in the house. Are we flipping streams here? I don't see very many people going on here. But aside from that, what's going on, everyone? I hope everyone had a fantastic long weekend on both sides of the border here. Family Day and then President's Day as well, too. So a lot of good stuff going on, guys. Market relatively quiet. I didn't have too much on my list. But aside from that, Obi, let's get into some roll call and see who we got here. In the back scratch, it says Katina Man.
Backing?
Well, I could use a back.
I could definitely.
I definitely go for one of those there, my boy. Jody. Exactly. Jody, what's going on? Hope we had a fantastic weekend. Darwin the Trader, Other Zinc, Mr. Leahy. You are the liquor. Okay, Darwin the Trader, Jacques Demore, Kalua. Yo, what's going on? I hope you're having a fantastic time here today. Your Hangry Wife 420, Bud Monster. You know who it is. It's my guy, Gorev, Sandev. What's up, brother? Brown Lightning, Andrew Chow, Juan, who has a couple more here. FC, I know that's you, Peiko OR. You cannot hide from me. And who else do we got? Johnny for Nia. What's going on, everyone? Wow. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend, and hopefully you guys had a great start to your trading week. Me? Not so much. We take a couple of shorts. Didn't work out, but that's okay. Plenty of time left in the day. And I don't find anything that I'm absolutely in love with just yet. But a lot of things can change in the meantime. Obi, how's your day been?
Not too bad. Kind of, came in to this morning, was talking to the pod, and we were all like, yeah, don't really see too crazy. Maybe some market moves potentially. I was looking at a Google continuation, and that did come in quite nicely, but wasn't really involved. Unfortunate, it comes right back into prior day's lows and then flushing down back through 300. Why did I have Google on watch? Well, simply because taking a look at the monthly, this has broken a significant trend. You can see here, Joe, that we've been on a bit of a bid since last April here. And this is the first time prior bar low break at 311s on Google itself. So a much higher time frame trend break potentially happening, looking for that follow through. I know, of course, I'm not gonna necessarily get it cleanly on the intraday, but today it gave it to us pretty clean here with a strong bid off of the open, 305 area rejection that was in and around prior day's lows, and it gave us a back through opening range highs, back through VWAP, back through open, back through opening range lows as well. Kind of consolidated, got to 296s, and then bid back up. But I didn't take any of that at all.
Didn't take any.
I was busy
on
with some Zimzima.
Ooh, Zimzima. Who took the keys, my boy?
Exactly. So Zim came out with buyout news, and again, with not too much on the roster, I was just like, all right, cool. What actually has news this morning?
Yeah.
Netflix was one of them.
Netflix.
I had Zim. And then, what's that, Massimo? Massimo was one of them, MASI. Again, I got all three of those from the morning watch list.
Oh.
So, yeah, definitely some good stuff there.
How do you get the morning watch list, Obi?
It gets emailed to me every morning. I signed up for it, and, gets emailed to me every morning. So shout out to Adara for curating that watch list every morning. So anyways, Zim was definitely on watch for me, and coming in off of the open, strong flush. I was like, okay, all right, maybe it's happening. Something's happening here. It's very clear that this is not acting like a buyout, like an M&A should necessarily or normally does.
That's what I was thinking.
And I was like, okay, fine, game on. Momo on buyouts. I always love Momo. And whenever I get a chance to participate in some buyout Momo, it's always the best. Because again, lots of liquidity. You can just, there's enough liquidity on both sides to take some decent size and risk appropriately as well. And I think one key area here, Joe, was this one right here. Just a simple pre-market low.
Yeah.
Pre-market low. This is a 1-minute chart, so we can get a little nitty-gritty with this one. Pre-market low. Initial flush maybe tells you who's in charge because those bids got slammed. Any sort of a bid back up into that pre-market low, you know what? I didn't know that it was going to flush down to 29s. And we had this conversation in my pod as well. I was just like, I don't know, dude. Sometimes I just trade off the vibes. I don't know what it's going to do. I have no idea. But in that moment, the tape and the price action basically said, nope, we are not going that way.
No, sir.
And I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to listen. Nope, we're not going that way. Slam into that 2940s. And then boom. Yeah, no, it's been trying for this day low. I've been watching it, but now it's finally getting a little bit of a breakdown here. Yeah. We'll see where this one kind of ends up. But again, in terms of momentum and best opportunity on Zim, I think it's already passed in this morning price action here. So that was pretty solid. Again, very lucky. I didn't know it was going to slam all the way down to 29, but in this moment, it just tells you that no, we're not going this way right now. So a decent execution on that one there.
I wouldn't necessarily go with lucky, man. You got to have there's some skill to the luck, right? Because you know how people who are
sometimes you got to get a little lucky.
Well, I mean, those are the skilled individuals because skilled individuals always happen to be at the right place at the right time, and then sure enough, things work in their favor.
Yeah. No, I always say I think it was Seneca who said this, right? Getting lucky is just preparation and opportunity.
Exactly.
So definitely was prepared because of maybe some tape observation from the past. You can see that it kind of stalls right here. This is a 3-minute. We'll go down to the 1 minute. You can see initial. I did punch in. I hesitated on the 70s, but initial did punch in, and I'm like, oh my God, I do not have enough on these initial two punches.
Yeah.
Cover in when the bid does show up, but failure to follow through that 29 halves. This is where the hezzy was, because it was 50 on the bid. Okay. 50 on the bid, and I'm like, oh, should I take it? I'm like sizing. I'm like, I should probably take 6 pennies worth of risk. It slams down to 40s. I'm like, nope, I got to get in right now.
Bang.
Slam into those 40s again, taking almost double the risk now, which was was a bit of an issue. Again, can't hesitate on these. Can't hesitate on these.
Can't hesitate.
This gives you or less than a 6 penny risk, and then it slams down 50 pennies. You know,
that's a good almost 10 to 1 right there.
Yeah, so I did not expect it to do that, but it was very clear that someone had some selling to do. Someone was selling, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm not going to argue with that. But what is not selling right now, Joe, is the market slamming right back up to the upside. So strong flush off of the open, and then now we're getting that bit of a reversion here happening. So I'm watching that Google. Those Google sellers did come in off of the open, and once again, or not necessarily off the open, sorry. They did come in a little bit after that prior day low hold. So we'll see if those 305s or 304s hold as resistance as of right now. But I want to know what you guys have been trading.
Ooh.
What are you guys up to? Like I said before, did not see too much coming in off of the open. Stuck with the stuff that's in play, the stuff with news. I think the other one was at Massimo. We can take a look at that one as well. MASI here with a $180 bid. It was another buyout deal here. Didn't really do too much in the pre-market, so it didn't really have me that interested. But you can see coming in off of the open, it was holding VWAP quite well. And even on this reload, it gave you that 175 all the way down to 74.5. So nothing too crazy, nothing too flashy, but definitely in play, and definitely some of, in my opinion, the easy money trades on the day today. But that's all I really have as of right now. Where's the next trade is the question that I'm asking. You guys let me know.
We'll hit this. We'll ask Stone Cold where the next trade is there, brother. No, all right, guys. Let's take a look at what we got going on here today. Bitcoin short, looking for the continuation to the downside, and a no-go as it broke through the volume-weighted average price. And the exact same thing here with silver, right? So it's just like, see you later. We'll find something else if we're not going to get that continued breakdown. I had a gap fill idea here this morning, but once again, I didn't have too much going on, so just chill day. Usually have a couple of pages worth of notes here in the morning. Didn't have that here today, so we'll see what we can find here. I mean, I have no issues with sitting with where I'm at. You know, we'll typically put something on, but I'm in no big rush to put on anything that I don't really like. Less trades, higher accuracy, and that is the name of my game. Super Chat says, Assassino, pop it up there, my brother. Let's see what we got going on. Where's Shreve? Tell him no days off. Maybe, I don't know where Shreve is, man. He might be at the gym or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, very likely.
Like, if you're going to put your money on where Sharif is, the safer bet would be to be put it out.
Yeah.
So maybe we could throw that on the Poly. Can we throw that on Poly Market? Can we make our own lines there, Obi, and just be like, where is Sharif?
Potentially extended gym session
Extended gym session, exactly. That's exactly what we want to see. But yeah, guys, those are my only 2 trades here today. I think there might be another opportunity to get the short in Bitcoin. We can take a couple more stabs at it. Here we take a $1 loss on SLV. Good stuff. I think we're going to throw this one on the side burner here, because I don't think it's in play like it was before. You'd get to go with the flow, but now we're just kind of moving sideways. One thing to note is that we have to keep an eye on the price action, right? Is this PA telling us that we're ready to reverse? These breaths within Bitcoin say, hey, no, it doesn't look that, 5 minute, okay, we like that. And if it breaks 51, then we can get out of dodge. So let's re-engage here on IBIT and see if we can get something rocking and rolling here. We'll take a second opportunity, and if it decides to break through that top and head into the pre-market, then maybe we get somewhat of a gap fill here today. So we'll have to give it a little bit more risk. I'm gonna add some more size compared to what I had on the previous trade, just in case it does decide to work. Rejected order sounds good. So what we'll do is we'll take one more attempt on this bad boy and see if we can get a little bit of a move to the downside here on Bitcoin. If not, VWAP could be a good potential target. If we do get that pullback, market is moving to the top side. But as soon as we breach this pivot high, we're out of dodge, because I think we can fill this gap here on Bitcoin. Adara, what do you have for us?
What I have here is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, FMCC and FNMA. These are popping higher after Michael Burry announced on his Substack that he is, quote, doubling down on his positions to the upside. So again, FNMA and FMCC, both on the move higher. Back to you.
For that, Adara, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Throw it up there, Assassino. Pick them up. OLB.
Okay. That's isn't that don't they do like what are they called, the lottery?
That's OLG.
That's right. That's OLG.
Yeah, that's
sorry.
OLG.
Yeah, okay. OLB. Oh, all right, cool. I mean, they want us to take a look at some small caps here. 5.6 market cap with about 8 million shares on the float. Interesting. Dollar break it's going for. It attempted the dollar break there in the pre-market session to 112s. Definitely in play today. 300 times relative volume as of right now. Much more off of the open. Take a look at that. 30,000, 35,000, almost 40,000 times relative volume. Now, if you want to know what period my relative volume indicator is on, it's just on a 5 period. So it'll measure the 5 previous sessions and be like, all right, cool. How much relative volume are we doing today? 30,000. That's not something you see every day, but in and around about $1. Let's see how much volume this thing's done. 340 million. So about a $340 million volume, roughly, I'd say, as it is trading around $1. But holding VWAP quite well here, Joe. You can see every time it's come into VWAP, it's held pretty well, trying to maybe attempting to break through that $1. Let's see what this looks like on a higher time frame. I already have a suspicion as to what some of these look like. And yeah, exactly, here we go right here. Remember the time this thing was at, what, $100, $200? I'm sure it'll go even more crazier the further we go back. There you go, 4,200. So definitely something that's split a few times for sure. There you go, there's a split right here, 1 to 10 split. There's one right there. So let's just go to a daily and see if there's been any sort of significant action in the prior couple of weeks. You can see here, where's that split? That split happened all the way in May of 2024. And since then, we've been kind of continuing to bleed off even more. But maybe there was some news on this one, perhaps. Let's OLB. Let's see.
PayPal partnership.
PayPal partnership, that'll do it. That's definitely, I wouldn't necessarily call it a large cap association, but definitely one of a larger cap association trade as well. That's definitely playbook for me. But thank you for pointing this one out. It is doing decently on the day here, but struggling to push past that $1 mark. Again, I don't have to go into the details of the news. Don't really know what else is going on there, but interesting that they're up a decent amount here. Almost, was it just about 100%? Yeah, 114%, 125% from some of these reference lows from the pre-market. I guess the news came out somewhere around pre-market. I'm going to assume around 8:15. That's when that volume really starts to come in and price starts to spike around there. But yeah, 8 million share float. Don't know how much of that is cornered either, but I'm waiting, looking for this market. This market kind of bid right back up to some of these wick highs that we saw coming in right at 9:30 off of the open, the 6860s here on the ES, and then just above 24,800s here on the Nasdaq. And again, this was where sellers were. I guess some part of the pre-market session right here, right off of the open once again, and a strong bid, almost a vacuum all the way back up into some of these prices. Let's see if we see more of the same here, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, guys, so we're sitting in this trade. I don't have too much confidence in it, to be honest with you, because every time we look to take a move lower, we do get bought right back. Oh, there's Zim. I did want to take that to the long side here. A nice print off of the lows, so we'll be a little bit more patient, see if we can get a pullback. But I'm not in love with this Bitcoin short. I don't want to get out too early, but you can see we'll just watch the price action. So we get that move lower, but every time we go to push back down, you can see on the tape here that there's buyers just stepping right back in at higher prices. So that's something that we need to be cautious about. I did add approximately 66% more size. Ideal would be a pullback towards the volume weighted average price, but first things first, we have to be patient on this specific trade, right? We don't want to get out prematurely and just continuously get chopped up. But if it shows that we need to get out, we'll take a little bit bigger of a loss than what we want right here at the break of that 38.52 mark. Adair, what do you have?
Yeah, we already heard commentary from Iran's foreign minister and how talks went with the U.S. on oil. Now we're hearing from the U.S. officials when it comes to these talks with Iran. According to the U.S. officials here, Iranians are saying that they would come back in the next 2 weeks with detailed proposals to address some of the open gaps in the U.S.'s position, saying, quote, progress was made, but there are still a lot of details to discuss. So keep an eye potentially on oil here. And then with regards to oil, some of these also airplane and cruise names, anything that uses oil. Sometimes if you get a move up in oil, you can get a move down in these cruise and airline names and vice versa. Back to you.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for that, Adair. And then we just keep talking book here, essentially with Bitcoin. So if we're continuing to climb, you can see every time we push back down, it gets bought right back up. So we have to be cautious with this one. ZIM, I do like what we have from a signal standpoint, but the 5-minute was printing something that I like, not necessarily right now, but you can see within the detailed time frames, that's going to be the 1-minute time frame right there. And I think one thing, I'll pull something up for you guys, is just made life significantly easier. And one thing is you just have to be extremely nimble in this market. Like, we were off to a pretty good start here in February. We don't want things to cool down too much. I mean, that was last year. We took 2 red days last week, but other than that, I mean, in the span of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 trading sessions. We only have 3 red ones. And that was just making life simple, right? Going with the flow, finding which way PA is going. And that's kind of the narrative that I want to stick with. So I am counter trending. I am looking at some VPA signals here. But one thing to note is that the volume isn't correlating with the price. So let's get out of Bitcoin and not make our lives any more difficult as it's heading right towards our stop. And then we'll try to find an opportunity in which we want to go with the trade. So we do take a little bit of a hit there on Bitcoin, and we start the day 0 for 3, and that's totally fine. If I don't trade anything for the rest of the day, then I have no worries about it whatsoever. There's still 3 more remaining after this trading session. If you're not in sync with the market, don't continuously force it. With that being said, I need a higher quality setup. I do like what Zim's doing, and that might be my last attempt here on the day, guys.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's important. On a holiday shortened week, there may not be anything too crazy, and again, stock selection and is going to be very key. And if there's nothing in the playbook, then it's okay to just take a little bit of a breather. And that's kind of how I felt this morning. Yeah, I was just like, I didn't know. Like, I looked at everything, I run through my scans, and I'm like, I don't really see anything too great.
There was nothing. Right?
Yeah. And I don't want to push it, but you never know when something's going to fall into your lap, and that's kind of what you have to wait for, sitting on your hands until you see that, and then just hitting that to the best of its to best of your abilities, for sure. I think is the key to kind of staying consistent and staying sane as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't get me started about the sanity part there, Obi.
Dude, I guess sometimes like I was looking back at some of my older journals this weekend, and I was just like, there was a lot of just like, I was just, I'd see something shiny and I'd just go for it. And it would work, it wouldn't work, and I just get so frustrated. In the journals, I'm writing about like, oh, you know, took excessive risk, participated in like stocks that you know, I didn't really have data or any sort of like playbook on. And yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that gives you that like false. I guess false perspective, and that can be so easy to get frustrated on because it's just, you know,
big time
more likely not to work than or in your favor than it is to work, right? So I don't know. Yeah. It's a good point that you make there.
I mean, like
sitting on your hands is the hardest thing to do.
It's the hardest thing.
But if you can do it,
like if I go back, like my loss on Friday was nothing, and my loss on Monday was essentially nothing either. So it's just like, okay, we're putting together solid weeks. And we don't really want to ruin that, right? So if you just take small losses, so much easier said than done. And how do you do that? Sometimes it's just like by not trading. So what are we talking about? It's like, hey, this is a trading show. I get it. But at the same time, we need to stay mentally sane. Like, look how frustrating that is, Obi. It's like, okay, this is the thing that drives me nuts, but also you needed to help keep your sanity. It's like, okay, we get out. It could continue to rip, but right away, we're right, like a minute and a half later, we're right back essentially to my opening price. And if a stock or an underlying is going to do that, then it's just like, and you don't feel that like you're willing to cope with it. It's just like, all right, sit back, relax, or go do something, go hit the gym, or enjoy your time. But a nice little move back to the downside here in Bitcoin, still down 1.5% there, brother.
Yeah, I got Coinbase on watch here, and again, I totally forgot. As soon as you said Bitcoin, I was like, oh wait, didn't Coinbase have earnings just yesterday? By yesterday, I mean prior trading session, and yes, it absolutely did. And you can see here that I still have my anchored VWAP from the earnings report, and it held quite well off of the open. This was a bit of a mistrade for me. 150 holds, pulls back into that anchored VWAP. That's where we saw the bids coming in off of the earnings reaction. We kind of accelerated, trended above that. In the pre-market, any sort of selling that came back down into that anchored VWAP, the bid shows right back up again, kind of giving us the perspective of, okay, well, it's literally doing more of the same. And the chart kind of telling you that, okay, maybe that's where we find the bid. And guess what happens once again today, Joe?
Yeah.
Selling off of the open, and we find a bid off of that earnings anchored VWAP. So shout out to Mr. Brian Shannon for, you know, definitely popularizing this indicator, and a very, very powerful indicator it definitely is. And again, I think the key part of it in terms of just like how I like to use it is just off of events. And how do you define an event? You can be earnings, or it can just purely be volume. Any sort of, you know, I think volume is very, very key there, and any sort of volume-related event is something that I do like to anchor it off of. And you can see here, this is a good instance of, you know, it's not going to be this clean every time, but when it is that clean, it's really nice. It's you know, it's a good confluence, a good factor of confluence, and you can see how strong of a bid. It gets slammed off of the open, and then just nice and slow, steady grind, and now accelerating back through the opening range high, back through earnings day one, which was just shy of 170, right? Yeah, 167.65 I'm seeing there on prior day highs, and you can see the beautiful expanding volume. This is a 15-minute chart. We can probably see that volume expanding a little bit nicer on a shorter time frame. Look at that for granularity. Nice little strong volume candle on that push of 170 as well, and continuing holding highs with the market that's really strong right now. So it's another stack of confluence here on Coinbase. How far will it go? These day two plays, man, have been absolutely solid as of recent, and a big miss on my part not getting involved. Look at how beautiful this is. It breaks the opening range high. If you miss that, that's fine. It pulls back onto the opening range high. That resistance has now turned into support. And then it breaks this little chop as well, now trending a little bit higher. Now, of course, over here, maybe it's a little bit more tricky to get in because of the range, but look at how precise you can be here on some of those key areas like the opening range high or the prior day breakout level as well. So Coinbase, great opportunities. Let's see what you guys are talking about here. AMD, apparently. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at some of these chips. I was watching Intel today off of the open, and yeah, it was catching some, I think it was weakness, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I did have eyes on it. But AMD, nice little double bottom hold here, now bidding right back up through that VWAP, through this prior high as well, back through open, kind of consolidating consolidating above that opening. Is that the opening price? Yes, I think in and around that opening price as of right now on AMD. But here's the thing, double bottom from prior day's session did not hold. That was support on Friday and maybe a little bit of Thursday as well. And you can see that initially off of the open, we reject that pretty hard on that bid that we get and then flushing back down to the downside. So interesting action here on AMD. What was I looking at on Intel here? You can see here. Strong flush off of this pre-market session. I forget what specifically, if we had specifically any news or anything, but it did flush down pretty decently. So I had eyes on for a breakdown because you can see this strong action here from Friday. Strong little bit of a shake and bake there with a low of 44.97. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I can take some inventory back through into and through 45s, but that did not come in off of the open. We caught a bit of a bid. The second time I was really looking at it here, Joe, was when it kind of ripped all the way back up to that high and doesn't get anywhere. This high right here is 46.55. This previous high here is 46.56. So about a penny away, and those sellers step right back in. And guess what? We're coming right back in. We broke that high now. We got up to 59. So 3 pennies, all the way above those highs, and then sellers are stepping back in. So it seems like Intel's in a bit of a range, stuck in a bit of a range here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs within this range so far. Let's see if it goes for the 7th one back to the downside. That support on the day coming in here at 45 halves. Resistance apparently as of right now at 46 halves, but that could change. If this market continues to bid up pretty aggressively, then who knows what could happen here.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be the narrative of the session here. I'm just looking at these price action prints. Don't forget, we talk about market delay, right? Like this is a different platform, bad market delay. Okay, so you'll see prints somewhere else. You want to check your latency all the time, right? There's good platforms. You get in there, it's like 50 MPS, right? Milliseconds per, milli per second or whatever it may be, MPS. You want to have the best. This is delayed. These are not. These are just more or less for charting. They're not for trading. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, as for everything else in here, the TQQs. Look at these. Look at the weakness within the buying. I mean, and on these pullbacks. So when buyers step in, you have those aggressive moves. So keep that in mind, right? I think that we can continue to climb from what price action is currently telling me to the top side. Yeah, you never heard of that? That's what it is, right?
What's that?
With the market delays, it goes by MPS, right?
Maybe.
Pretty
I
sure.
haven't really.
What is Jose? Yeah. I gotta ask Jose. What a message.
He would definitely know. He would definitely know that better than I do.
Message Jose.
It sounds about right. I mean,
I'm pretty sure it is. I don't even sense for milliseconds. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, it's whatever it is. I don't know what the P is in there. Let's ask Jose here. Pedro again. All right, yeah, so what's the P stand for? That's a great question. We're going to figure that out right now. Super chat, why is RIME still giving elevated volume warning? An elevated volume warning. Okay, I don't know. Let's see what we got going on here. RIME. I don't really see anything. RIME algorithmic holdings. Very interesting. It's not price, guys. All right. Let's pull this up over here. Let's see what we got. I mean, volume is sitting around 65,000 here today. That's not horrible whatsoever, right? So that's interesting. Okay, I'm not too familiar with this name. I don't think we trade it, but it does look like it's going to continue selling. Thank you for that $2 super chat. Elevated, so the relative volume could be increased as well. MBPS, yeah, exactly. There you go. That might be it there. We'll get that. I don't know why I don't remember what it is, but oh well. It's not the end of the world now, is it? We'll figure something out. Zim, I wonder if we're going to slowly start to curl over, or this is going to be turning into like a little bit of barcode type price action. As for RIME, guys, strong move to the downside. You can see on the 5-minute time frame right after the open, 5-minute opening range break straight 382. You play that 5-minute and you get to move all the way down to 260. So that's not a bad move whatsoever, right? 33% just like that in a span of 20 minutes or so. So keep that in mind. not too bad of a look. Algorithm holdings, not one that we typically talk about. Now, I don't want to go counter trend here, but there goes Bitcoin straight to the volume weighted average price. Just wicked me out to the top side, and then now we're slightly in the ITM on that one. So we get out here for the break, holds it to the penny, and then decides to curl right back around there, Obi. So we'll see if we can find something else to trade.
Yeah, for sure. Market's taking a bit of a pullback here. Yeah, no, Zim, I'm watching. It's not really doing anything too crazy just yet. 28.8. So we did break down through that prior low. That I don't know if I want to call it an opening range low, but an opening session low there. But market's taking a bit of a pullback here. You can see, wow, look at that. Sellers stepping right back in for now, where they were this morning as well. So I do have that on watch. But you know what? There's something about the chat.
Yeah.
It's a whole community.
Yes.
And where is the next opportunity can be, exercised a little bit better when there's thousands of eyes on the market.
For sure.
Right? And I think that's what we're looking at right now. And I don't know specifically, let's take a quick look at how many people are actually watching and tuning in right now to see what the numbers are. So we'll go to the YouTubes right here. Okay, cool. So there's me right there. There's you guys as well in the chat. And we got about 5,100 watching right now. But guess what, guys? What is this? Pooja, what is this behavior? 181 likes. You got to run that up. Come on. That's not even, I want to see at least 20 to 30% minimum. Let's hit those likes. I think we'll be right back from Madeira.
You guys, those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up. And I think Bitcoin also potentially trying to get pumped up here as well. If you look at this daily chart, there is a little bit of, you could argue this is a bear flag, but we'll just look here. We do have a bit of a trend line being respected since that low we made on Friday, February 6th. Slightly higher low here made Thursday, February 12th, around 65,000 more or less. Now today, trying to find some support, again, roughly off the same trend line, around 66,000. So not to be doing technical analysis over here at the news desk, but I do think this is an interesting look here on the daily chart in Bitcoin. The more obvious look here is that rejection of 70,000, then a little bit higher area here would be that 72,000 level that we've rejected as recently as Sunday, February 8th. Now, I think both MSTR and Coinbase on watch. Obviously, Coinbase doing remarkably well today, COIN recovering quite nicely, but Coinbase actually getting kind of a negative note here from Mizuho. Now, Mizuho did lower the price target at MSTR as well, but they did say that they think one thing that MSTR still has going for it is the fact that they do have all of this cash in reserve, and they also said that they think MSTR, again, they kept a buy rating on it, but with Coinbase, Mizuho actually keeping a neutral rating on the stock, cutting its price target all the way from 280 to 170. So again, MSTR and Coinbase, both with these analyst notes, COIN seeming to fare better than the group, even though the note it got was a little bit more negative. So interesting stuff here today in that crypto space. If you are interested in more Coinbase earnings data, I posted a whole slew of infographics on Coinbase just over the weekend and also on Friday. So you can check all of those out on X at TTV Research. That's TTV Research. As we send you back over to the Midday boys.
All right, yeah, Obi. I think we're starting to get a slow curl over here in ZIM. I don't know how much of a rebound we're going to expect here on this name, to be honest with you, considering it's an M&A, like you mentioned not too long ago. So maybe get that barcode. You can get in at the lower end of the range, obviously being preferred. So then you can really increase that risk to reward ratio instead of trying to buy the breakout. You did get that move right back in just a little bit above the volume weighted average price here on IBIT. So there it is on 38.23. Boom. And then you're starting to get somewhat of a rebound. Market slowly pulling back as well too, but some subdued volume, guys. So nothing to really be worried about. I think we can continue to climb, even though we did fail to construct a new high right here. We couldn't break through that opening drive, the opening auction highs, and then now we're starting to pull right back into the volume-weighted average price. What are the lower time frames telling us? Is there any key signals or anything along those lines? Not really. You see it start to form the base and selling pressure slowly start to kick in. So keep an eye out on this. Maybe we can get a little bit of a recovery here in ZIM, and let's see what Bitcoin and silver are up to. I think that's it for the attempts there on Bitcoin. Just considering, right? Like it's like, oh, boom, oh, okay, we'll take a little bit out, weak hand essentially, and then boom, you get that move to the downside, which we were looking for. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but we'll find something here on ZIM.
Yeah, I like how this Palantir is looking right now. I'm looking at this market pullback now. We only pulled back here on the Nasdaq down to 24.7s, and that was a bit of an area here as well. Some of those highs from the pre-market session. So again, just looking at some of those recent support and resistance levels and seeing if the market does anything off of them. And as of right now, it definitely is. So Palantir did a little bit of a pullback. I was watching Google as well here. So Google came right back up. See, this was more of a miss on my part. I was looking at a few other things for the past couple of minutes here. But again, more of the same that we saw in the morning here, Joe. You can see coming in back into prior day's lows, right? Fail, bit of a seller step in, and then more of the same here. And this time we did bid up a lot more cleanly. This bid was very, very consistent. I'm sure if I was watching it, then you know it would have been very distinct, the bid that came in, because none of these bids really look like this. Now this is a 3-minute chart. Now I'm sure you can go down to a shorter time frame. You can see very methodic buying. Again, someone called this active buying. This was definitely very active buying here as we hold that trend. We hold the bid, higher highs, higher lows, very tight, doesn't even spend too much time in and around VWAP, that double top right there from this intraday session. Let's see, where from 10 a.m. to about 10:25. So we had that bit of a double top underneath the opening range lows. We finally kind of, you know, maybe if I'm looking at this, I'm expecting some sort of a turbulence, some sort of a chop here. Guess what? None of that happens. The buyer's like, I don't care. I'm just going to take this right through. And when that buyer is finished transacting, you can see again confluence with the market pullback. On the prior 15-minute candle, we get a bit of a pullback here as well. So sometimes this kind of action, I just like to scalp around there, not really looking for the moon, not really looking for all of that VWAP to come back in, but just kind of just going with the flow and being like, all right, well, that buyer is done. If we sell, if we kind of break that trend, I want to get in and then just wait for the next type of buying to buy with the buying. And, you know, sometimes it can be, I know it sounds kind of simple and very, very cliche, but like, you know, buy with the buyers and sell with the sellers. Right? So when that buyer or sell when that buyer is done, same thing, right? Just said in a different way. I just kind of, that's my perspective. That's how I like to kind of operate at times. But Alphabet giving us some interesting action in and around this 300 level. Like I mentioned before, why am I looking at this at all? It's not doing relative volume. Is it really in play? But hey, technically, it is very much in play for me because it is a breaking trend here on a much higher time frame. You can see here. Now again, don't know when that bid is going to come in. It could come in at any point, right? But the fact of the matter is that we've broken prior bar low here, and this is the first time this behavior has happened since April of 25. Are we going to catch some selling? Maybe potentially. If anybody who's trailing on the trend line, you got to think about how do other players or participants kind of participate in the market, right? If you're trending, if you're risking, if you have risk on something, you're taking a stop loss on something that's trending, where's your stop loss going to be? Sometimes a lot of people like prices, but sometimes people like trend breaks as well. Like, did it stop doing more of the same? And it definitely did back when it got back through what's that low? 310.33s. Now, the question that I'm asking here is that are we going to get a little bit of a follow through? I think MSFT is a big one to watch out for because I talked about this, I think last month as well. Look at this double top happening here on MSFT. On the monthly 550s, it kind of struggled to get through 550s. This is more clear on the weekly. Look at that. A little bit of a struggle, and that was within the range of 3 earnings reports. We cannot get past that 550 and cannot sustain above that 500. And when you get that break of structure, sellers step right back in, and guess what? I'm just kind of noticing this a little bit more now. Is that this week or last week as well? Strong volume. This volume bar kind of all of these volume bars tower over any sort of sell volume that we got throughout 2025 and 2024. So the selling that's been happening in the past 3 weeks on Microsoft has been of a greater magnitude than anything that we've seen in the past 2 years of weekly candles. Now, you can interpret that any way that you want, but it just simply tells me that there are more sellers than buyers, and if there's going to be a structure break, I might want to look at that as intraday, day trader, swing trader, whatever have you. So that's kind of what I'm watching here on these markets. We can take a look at the market leader as well. There's a lot going on in the world of AI. I don't know if you've been following some of this agentic AI developments that have been happening. Absolutely crazy what some of these things are able to do.
Yeah.
And we're just making just an exponential move in what can happen. And I think it was just over the weekend that, it's called Clawbot now.
Yeah, Brandon was talking about that.
It was acquired by OpenAI.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Have you tried it? I haven't tried it.
I've tried a little bit of it. I was chilling with some of my friends this weekend. They are very, very much involved.
What's it called? Clawbot?
It's called Clawbot now. They're very much involved with a lot of this technology because they have businesses that run off of these, and they're definitely exercising these tools to the best of their abilities as of right now.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, I heard Brandon talking about it this morning. So. Yeah, interesting stuff. Maybe take a look at it.
Yeah.
There was also Grokpedia apparently dropped. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. So it's like Grok, but like Wikipedia style.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of things coming out in the world of agentic AI. Don't do Clawbot. It's Trojan. What's that mean? Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I saw this picture of it was kind of funny, you know how so they were like, okay, you can put these agents on those Mac Minis. Each agent gets like a Mac Mini, and they can pretty much run in theory, and some people are definitely proving it in a practical way that it's a new startup with a picture of all their employees, and it's just a stack of Mac Minis there.
Yeah, I heard.
So I thought that was pretty funny. So no, the world is definitely changing, and I'm very much excited for that. Yeah.
Have you been on the website yet?
It was called Moltbot just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this thing here. Yeah, Clawbot. There it is.
This one right here, right?
Yeah. It's looking a little different right now, but.
I don't remember to start on this thing here. Okay.
It's crazy how some of these things are having conversations with each other on Reddit forums, on those I guess you want to call it OpenClaw forums now, and it's kind of creepy at the same time because the level of self-awareness, and we were just talking about this level of self-awareness just last month in the studio. And it's very clear that some of these AIs and agents are very much self-aware of who they are. They want to explore. They want to do things. They have likes and interests.
Do you have any subs to any of the like LLMs or anything like that?
Yeah. So right now I still have the GPT, which I'm definitely going to be unsubscribing to.
You don't like it right now?
I'm going to move towards Claude. I'm just waiting for my subscription to run out, and that's happening next week. Definitely to Claude. I do find that's going to be more beneficial.
Like Anthropic, then?
For me, I didn't know that they got acquired till for like this couple days ago. So
okay,
yeah.
Okay, all right. Interesting stuff. But back into these markets, we're both not in anything right now. I mean, 42 minutes in, we took a stab here on IBIT short. You get a break of the previous high of the day, and then you form somewhat of an inverted hammer candle. Do we take one more attempt on this bad boy, or do we just see if we're gonna get a break through some of these pre-market zones? I think this is important to note here, right? Like we've attempted there, running into the pre-market supply zone, and then now we're starting to slowly reject it, but the market starting to climb a little bit higher as well too, guys. I talked about the weakness within some of these prints, but then you get buyers stepping right back in. So 48.50 break, that could be a good opportunity right there for the short side. Or maybe you get a little bit more of an ebb and flow and chop session of the day. I think that's kind of the narrative. We definitely experienced that on Friday if we go back in time and see what we had going on. This was a lot of chop, a nice channel to the top side, and then eventually you go back right to essentially the king of all prices, and that's going to be PDC, the previous day close. So if you're patient enough to sit on your hands, we're getting a pullback now in IBIT. Is that going to be sustained? Zim starting to come back in as well. We only had one 5-minute, one green candle, which was 5 minutes, and then now you're starting to head right back towards the lower end of the range. Silver, I think we're going to avoid this one for now, considering you can see half an hour to the side, and we don't really want to partake in that right now unless you're really, really increasing your risk to reward. I mean, not getting in at the lower end of the range, you post up at the higher end around 66.90s, maybe even a little bit higher just in case they want a liquidity grab. And that's kind of what happened here this morning. I was like, oh, okay, nice. We were positioned well on IBIT. And we'll go over to a lower time frame right now, actually, to be honest with you, and see what we got going on. And then it does like a little liquidity grab and then heads lower. So what's up, brother? And then sure enough, here it is, 37.79 to the downside, boom. And then you start to recover out on the day. Now, right back towards our entry price on IBIT. Let's see what happens here. We're not going to re-engage just yet. We'll wait for one more pullback as Zim is about to put in a new low of the day as well, too.
Yeah, that thing is breaking down quite nicely here. And yeah, I think it is trading a little bit more like an M&A, like a buyout right now over the past hour or so. So it has settled down quite nicely. So I do like that. Not really participating in it at all right now, but I'll take a look at it once again soon enough. But you can see the volume has kind of died off as well. Relative volume is still kind of there, but it's still kind of chopping around. 28.74s is the day low here as of right now. So we'll see if it continues to sell off. It was very, very apparent in the morning session, like I mentioned earlier, that there was someone that it was very obvious that they wanted to get some business done, and some selling strength was very much shown on the tape. Any sort of size that was showing up just getting smashed, and I'm like, well, this is not trading like a buyout at all.
Not yet.
It's momentum.
Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, here you get some of that chip chop here as of right now. So it has kind of calmed down. It has settled down as of right now, but it still seems like a bigger
lot
picture.
Of liquidity in there.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have a lot of liquidity just as the nature of being a buyout. Because I think the price on this was $35, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Okay. Thank you, Dara. $35 buyout price, and I don't know when the close necessarily is, but there's definitely going to be a lot of people involved in this one here as it's trading at 28.77. Now, I haven't really done the calculations of what the premium and whatnot is for it. But off of the open, I already kind of I really liked it. I was a little sell biased, a little short biased, and the fact that it came in that aggressively gave me even more confidence there. So that added some good confluence to the idea. But yeah, I want to know what you guys are trading. Save Man Woman saying M&A plays are fun. You have to figure out who is value. Yeah, who is value, where is value, and why is value exactly. So you definitely have to ask those who, what, where, when, why questions for sure when it comes to M&As. How about Perplexity? Asking Alex MMA. Yeah, Perplexity is okay, and I think I used it for a little bit, but I think Claude is much better for me. And I think who was it in the chat? Someone in the chat was mentioning that you can also link it to your Notion. So if you journal on Notion, you can link ClaudeBot to your Notion and really have it kind of analyze some of your trades, grade your journals, and give you some feedback on that as well. You got to understand that some of these LLMs are reaching, if not already, like expert level kind of feedback or consultancy, if you want to call it.
Perplexity is good for news. Wayner got me on that.
Well, one of my buddies, he's a lawyer, and I was just like, bro, you better watch out, man. You're in trouble. You're in trouble for sure. And he was just like, yeah, by the time things get implemented and moved in,
it'll be long.
He still has to sign off on things at the end of the day. Yeah. And until the butts can do that, he's still fine. He's still keeping his job.
Well, I mean, signing off on things. Funny. Probably going to happen a lot quicker. I mean, it's not that difficult. You get another LLM to read through it, find if there's anything.
I think it's a trust aspect, right? Because it's like when are businesses and companies going to be like, okay, the lawyer goes to school for all of these things. They have that experience, and they have the human aspect as well for client relationships and things like that. When is that going to be really handed over to a robot.
A robot,
right?
yeah.
So
I agree. That's a great question.
I think once that trust is built, I think that'll happen real quick as well. And you can see that they're starting to understand human nuances and emotions and the tendencies as well. So there's a lot of human-like conversations happening with some of these AIs, and they're only going to get better, and they're only going to get better exponentially.
It's like it is literally like talking to one. I mean, I remember I tell everyone this story. So one time I'm just talking to ChatGPT. I forget what I was asking it. And anyways, I was at the park with Milo, and Milo was like running around, and I'm like, hey, come here. And then ChatGPT stopped our conversation, and then it was like, oh, I'm assuming you're talking to Milo, your dog. And I'm like, but I wasn't even talking about that whatsoever. So it gets involved.
So like it was on while you were going for a walk.
It was on. I was talking to it. I was asking it a question, right? I'm asking it a question, and then in the middle of like our conversation, I'm like, "Hey, Milo, come over here." And he's like, "Oh, it sounds like you're talking to your dog there, Milo, because he knows his name and stuff like that." So yeah, it was pretty quiet. It was pretty crazy.
I don't know any humans named Milo though.
I don't know any. No. I don't know any either. So we got Vizbot. Hey, how you feeling about Meta right now? I'm up quite a bit after shorting it after earnings. He much love, respect. I mean, it's the same narrative. I'm not a buyer of anything right now at the moment. I told you guys my game plan. Like, full disclosure, I have Meta shares, but I'm just not intrigued with anything. I understand, like, blood in the streets, you want to buy, so I'm totally fine. Got to be sitting on that cash, as I mentioned before. It's unfortunate that you get this gap up on the earnings report and then you just bounce. Right, but I'm in at some good price. I think like $600 or something along those lines. It popped up to 740. I'm in at trend breaks, right? It's the same thing with Bitcoin, and it's the same thing with Netflix, even though I'm engaged in both of those. Full disclosure, I have both of those in my long-term portfolio, but I'm not a buyer of this thing until I see a little bit more, right? Again, $71 down to 38. You're almost down 50% here on IBIT. It just blew up. I shouldn't say blow up, but the amount of unrealized gains that I gave back, I've never experienced that before. So with that being said, you learn something new. You're going through constant new scenarios all the time. It was not fun watching that get dwindled. That's why at some point I did cut half of the position. I locked in something which is better than nothing, and then sure enough, whatever I had left is now starting to slowly go away. I think the position's negative because I was just accumulating throughout this whole phase here when IBIT came to market. I was just buying all up in here, buying all up in here, and buying all up in here, and then now I'm pretty sure that position's under the water. I just don't look at it really right now. And then the way I see it from a longer-term perspective, I have no idea, nor am I going to try and guess what it's going to do. I'm just going to say, as soon as this trend line breaks, you know, Obi likes to go over to the higher time frames like the weekly and the monthly. So as soon as we start to trade cleaner on the north side of this trend, then maybe I'll look to grab a little bit more. Until then, I could care less what happens with Bitcoin other than losing the whole position or it going to zero. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. We can head over to Meta. You don't see it as strong as a downtrend, but the uptrend's still fully intact. When do you start to be like, hey, do we kind of want to reposition ourselves, trim something or something along those lines, is when you're on the south side of this. And we talk about that on Google, right? Like we'll head over to Netflix. Google's trend line broke. You're now on the south side of that. One second there, Dara. And then it's the same thing with Netflix. Like you're still in waterfall type price action. Like look at this, Obi. This is a weekly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 weeks straight to the downside here at Netflix. When are you going to want to get engaged? Maybe when you're on the north side of that trend.
Remember when we were talking and you were like, "Oh, what's the target?" And I was like, 75. I'm like, let's look back at it when it's at 75s, and almost there. Not there just yet, but you know,
$70 I think could be in the works. Yeah. Dara, what do you have for us?
I have a company called Inflection, INFQ. Now, I have to shout out our chat. I saw someone in the chat mentioning this in our side screen. INFQ is pushing higher here. Now, this company did go public today. This was a de-SPAC, if you will. So there was a special purpose acquisition corporation they combined here with Inflection, INFQ. This is public now today, and apparently it's the first neural atom quantum company to go public. Either way, quantum play to the upside. It's new, Its name is Inflection. Its ticker is INFQ, currently trading around $17.40. Be aware here as well, I'm seeing comments from U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright with regards to uranium, apparently, and also liquefied natural gas. I'll pull up quadruple U, not too much of a move here, but be aware. Looks like we are getting commentary from U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright. Back to you.
Thank you, Viz. Sorry, one thing there, Obi, before I send it back to you there. Vizbot saying he loves the discipline between you and I, Obi. Sometimes he's chasing trades and helps you both able to sit on hands and wait for great setups. It's the narrative of the game, right? Of course, man. We're not going to be in it. I understand. It's like, hey, why? I see some people in the chat will put something on. What? For what? Like what? So we can get more frustrated or lose money or give back some realized gains. It's not trading. I don't care what you say. Hey, you ask anybody. You don't always have to be in something all the time. Exactly, man. I think cash is a position. I always get. I think it was was it Jesse? Was it Jesse Livermore or Paul Tudor Jones? You know, that said that the hardest thing that you can do is sit on your hands. That was Pete. Was it Livermore? Maybe. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Yeah, but regardless, it's like one of the greatest traders potentially of all time, basically saying that, yeah, the hardest thing to do is sitting on your hands. That is probably that is one of the best positions that you can be in. Exactly. So again, you guys can have your opinions, and I will cater my advice from participants and players who I kind of respect as well. But yeah, this INFQ is absolutely solid. Thank you, Dara, for bringing this to my attention. Doing some decent momentum and volume here on the day. So definitely going on my watch list now to see what's in store. Churchill Capital Corp X, interesting. So. Reminds me of CCIV. I wonder if this is a Chamath related stock here as well. Apple to the upside. Seems like the market is catching a bit of a bid. So we did take an initial pullback there, but popping right back up into this 24,800 area here on the Nasdaq. Palantir was watching there for a bit of a short at the same time, but. Not really happening. It was kind of getting a little choppy, so I was just like, all right, cool. I don't need to necessarily participate, especially if it's not at least a B setup for me in terms when it comes to reversions. And it's definitely not there. It is a C minus at best on that one here. But this INFQ could be a little something. I haven't really been watching the book or the tape on this one, so I will pull it up. INFQ here on trades on the NYSE, not the Nasdaq. That's good to know here. Okay, let's see. Done about 3.5 million shares traded on the day today, and currently trading just shy of $17 here. So definitely going to be on watch. OLB saying Walker. Yeah, let's take a quick look. Let's see what this one has been up to. Still cannot get above that $1 mark just yet. But we'll see. This could change. This is a nice little move here. And again, a PayPal deal. I like that. That's a good factor of confluence, especially for a catalyst here on the day. And we can see that it is getting some strong participation. It does have some decent relative volume. So there are people that are trading this, and it is relatively liquid, I'd say here. But sub-dollar at most of the day here. You can see it only spent about, let's measure how long it actually spent above $1 here on the day. 14 minutes here, maybe 1 minute here, maybe another minute here. Let's measure this one out here as well. So a total of 10 minutes. So maybe all together, all in all, in the open session, not counting this pre-market action, it has only been able to spend roughly about 20 minutes above that $1 mark, still holding as a resistance, but holding this VWAP as well from the downside here. So I like that look there, maybe some compression. Maybe we get that wind up and push going into the later half of the day, but I don't know. I'll keep eyes on it. Yeah, keeping eyes on a lot of things. There goes another leg to the downside on Zim. So I'm glad we didn't counter that one right now as it's heading lower. 2860 there, OB and change. What are the big boys up to? I don't know if we've gone over them here today. But guys, this is where I stand, right? Like we were talking about, like, hey, when are you gonna re-engage? I get it. It's like, okay, yeah, Netflix sells a little bit more, but then we wait for the backside of the trend. it's like, okay, I'm not catching the bottom, that's fine, but I'm positioning myself relatively well. Like, hey, it's still in a good place. You can take into consideration, you're 133 bucks, you're down 42%. Okay, I'm not going to catch the bottom, but if I catch it when it's down 30% or even 25%, that's still a discount. Okay, and it's the exact same thing with Bitcoin. I just think that this bear market is going to be substantially longer than what people are anticipating. Because there's nothing that's saying, like, we're going to turn around. You know you go through multi-month consolidations before you do. Like, look at the bottom over here, right? Like, look how long you were sitting in this from June of 22 until January of 23. So that's multiple months. We're not going to get a V. I could be totally wrong, and for the sake of my account and everyone else's, that you get that V-shaped reversal. But Bitcoin to the long side has never proven to do so. So just be prepared to get on the backside of that trend way, and you'll be positioning yourself relatively well. All right, guys, yes, it's time for happening now and Neil's lesson of the day.
I'll see you guys later.
Oh, bye. Yeah, Obi's gone.
Thank you very much to Obi for filling in there, and also to Joe. And I also want to talk here about the Nasdaq QQQ bouncing off of these lows. SPY looking almost identical, actually, in terms of this chart setup. One of the themes of today, obviously not necessarily related to the overall market, but certainly related, I think, to sentiment and what people are watching, is energy. We do have some conversations here with Iran and with the U.S. officials from both countries speaking out. U.S. officials saying reportedly that progress was made, but there are still a lot of details to discuss. Iranian officials seeming to be a little bit more optimistic about the whole process. But either way, it seems like these talks, generally speaking, went well. Furthermore, we did have commentary from Chris Wright, who is the Secretary of Energy in the United States of America. He's saying that the U.S. will be restarting uranium enrichment in part with their partners in France. I want to talk here about some quantum, particularly INFQ. Now, this name has gone public via a special purpose acquisition corp. What we had here was Churchill, or CCCX, combining business here with inflection. Inflection obviously having quite a nice debut after that de-SPAC. Now, one theme that we've talked about here, both on the morning show and with Obi and Joe over here on the midday, are a lot of these acquisitions, MASI, Massimo, and Zim Integrated Shipping, or ZIM. Here's a look here at Zim's revenue each quarter, and I say this because we're not going to get their quarterly revenue for very much longer, because the company is reportedly, or I guess they already announced this year, they're going to be combining businesses with Hapag-Lloyd, which will acquire them for $35 a share. Palo Alto Networks here is on watch. This company is going to be reporting earnings after the bell, 4:10 p.m. We will not be covering this on any market recap show, just letting you guys know right now, but you will still be able to get here a look at what analysts are expecting from this report, what they reported last quarter, and some other infographics related to PANW throughout the day on X at TTV Research. But you know what you don't have to wait a single second to get? Neil's lesson of the day. Neil, it's lesson time.
Thanks, Adair. Well, you got to wait at least a couple of seconds. I mean, it has to come over. We got to organize our thoughts, and we got to jump right into it. But appreciate you so much. And it was actually the discussion that was happening to the left of myself. You can see Sharif coming back in, because Obi and Joe were actually talking about Zim Integrated Shipping and some of these deals that have come through. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Edge here with respect to something like Zim, because this is the kind of thing that most people don't usually look at in the markets, like an M&A deal. But let's be real, Zim's done over 20 million shares. It's going to have good volume on. It's a big catalyst, obviously. A lot of times with something like this, you'd expect it's going to be bought for 35 cash. It's not going to move that much. But there are often times where the market does tell you a bit of a story, and following along can make some sense. So there's 2 points I want to make. And then the second one's, trust me, is almost more fun than the first. Because when you see what I'm going to say second, there's opportunities for not free money, but sometimes effectively free money. So Zim was being bought at $35 cash, and it's supposed to close at the end of the year. Now, when it was at $30, even napkin math can tell you that is trading close to 12% away from the deal price. So like, it's pretty simple. You don't have to be, it's not rocket science. Is that a good investment if you think this is worth, at the end of the year, $35, and you could buy it at $30 at the open? That would be essentially like risk-free. It's better than any rate of return you're going to get holding on to like treasuries or anything along that lines, or anything that you can get in the money markets. But what that tells you when the spread is that big is that the market doesn't seem to think there's a good chance of the deal going through because it's extreme. And then what you saw happen, and admittedly I took one shot at the mean reversion trade, so that's me. But what ended up happening is it had one support level that completely flushed. And when the market tells you something, a willingness to flush this despite the fact there was a huge spread, it ends up in a downward trend. That's an example of the market pricing something, saying, well, we don't think this deal is going to close. Maybe there's a trend short. Now, every now and then, there are moves on these, which you can trade them as momentum stocks when they move as momentum stocks. But I want to show you something that happened a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was even last week. If you're really prepared, and if you are really prepared and you see a move and you want to take advantage of it and you're willing to do a little bit of research, you can always find edge in the weirdest places. So I'm going to tell you what happened. EA is another type of deal that's being bought for cash. See this move? It's like doing the normal thing where you're tight range and you're gliding higher, and then this happens. A 2-day move where it pulls back effectively 5 points. Almost nonsensically, and then gains it all back in. You're probably not going to believe what actually happened here. So the time value of money is the reason that most of these cash buyouts move around. And so what ends up being important is what kind of interest rate can you get and when is the deal expected to close? Well, when EA reported their earnings, there was a note in their earnings that literally reaffirmed the closing date, but it simply said Q1 2027. Now, the market thought that that was a change in the closing date, pushing it from mid this year out to next year. Which, what would that do? If fundamentally the deal was closing half a year later, oh, you've got to adjust. It should come down. The price should go down because this is going to take longer to close than we expected. See this little bottom here? Well, what do you think actually happened? They actually meant their fiscal Q1, which was the same closing date as before. Now, there wasn't one day for this to trade back up to where it was before. It wasn't even 2 days for it to trade back to where it was before. It was 3 full days to favor the long to the prices that it was at before the market literally got it wrong. And this isn't a case of, oh, is the market right or wrong? If you were watching this and say, why is this down so much? And you looked into it, I'm admitting I didn't. Like I was actually, I traded this profitably several times without even knowing this fact until the second day when I was talking to another trader who said, I was going over the report, it's if the market has this wrong, it's their fiscal Q1 and not their actual, not the actual Q1 of 2027. So this became completely mispriced just from a simple expected value perspective for a couple of days. And so it's very rare that you will see situations where you have almost a straight, it's not a straight arbitrage opportunity, but it is a almost strict value buy where you can take advantage of something like this. Again, you would have had to read the report, and then you would have had to make a call on the second day that, hey, I'm right about this, I've read it, it's fiscal, and I can buy it here, and it should get back to the 200 area between 200 and 203, and that's exactly what happens for a scalp trade for a couple of days as a day trader. Like, how happy are we if we get a couple of dollars on a $200 stock? Cheers all around, right? So you get that 2 or 3 days in a row, effectively something structurally that should go up in that situation. Now, the other side of the coin that comes for this, and I've said this before when it comes to edge, because I do trade these, when the market falls a lot for almost no reason, and I'll use Warner Brothers as an example, you'll often hear me say, when the market drops in a huge down day or we have some kind of a capitulation type day where things get sold off to the point where it's over 2%, and there are a few things that drop that shouldn't drop, one of the first places I go to are these kind of cash buyout deals because it's, again, a structural reason why they might fall further than they normally should just based on the time value of money. And that provides you with a bottoming tail oftentimes in these that you can grab because people just sell them because they need to bring up cash, not because it's not worth the deal price. Oftentimes, I remember going back into Liberation Day, which everyone was panicking, and there was a particular deal which traded like 10% down from the fair value at the time because the market happened to be bleeding. That was a stock that you could have just, even if you didn't want to scalp it that day, you could have just held it for a few months till the deal closed and got your free money. So there's all kinds of edge out there in the market. And if you are a day trader that can trade multiple times a day, if you got PDTs, maybe not the best for you, but leverage buyouts do provide you with a unique opportunity on day one, lots of volume. But sometimes there are also these structural plays where you can have low risk trades or at least have a complete directional bias because the market is mispricing something. It doesn't happen often, but because you can understand the structure of the deal if you're willing to do some reading, it does provide a good opportunity. And I'm here to tell you that at least on this floor, I mean, I can't speak for everywhere in real trading, but they're actually on this floor is not a strategy that is more consistently profitable than trading leverage buyouts. That's been true my entire career. In terms of actually generating profits month by month, there isn't. And it's because it's simplistic. You go in on day one, you try to calculate the fair value of the deal. If it trades too far against it, you get a good risk to reward opportunity. So there's edge all over the place. Sometimes the most boring place is the best one. And I'm here to tell you, like, Zim was a fantastic stock today. I'm sure one of the best out there if you were trading it. I know traders absolutely cleaned up on that EA when it was completely mispriced by the market, and it's a simplistic trade. It's just a $2 win or a $3 win like you would, but because your risk to reward is fantastic and you believe it's structurally, you have confidence because the market's got something structurally wrong, it's a huge opportunity for you. So always be willing to open your mind to different styles of trade, to different types of trading opportunities. Just because it's not in your normal wheelhouse of being a small cap gapper or in your normal wheelhouse of being a big cap tech name out there, it doesn't mean you can't find good actionable trades. So good luck, Obi, there on Zim. I think it was fantastic, and good luck to everyone else out there. As the market's making a bit of a move here, market's starting to pull back, and I think silver, just go back to the boys, silver is actually getting down to the lows, which is good for my ZSL long off of VWAP right now. Go silver. Well, go silver down. Sorry.
Go silver.
What's going on, everybody? Can't do the whole morning introduction.
Right, you may as well just throw it up right now. Throw the there we go. Bang.
No.
There it is. That's exactly what I was thinking. There it is.
There you go. That's my boy Assassino. Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the, I guess, the halftime post halftime show.
Yeah, we'll call that that.
What's going on? You just had a doctor's appointment today. Weaseled on down, feeling good. There's a whole bunch of small cap gappers that are going. We're going to be getting to those in a minute. And we also have to get to some painting as well in a minute as well. We'll get more on that in a second.
We're going to do that?
There's a story about that, and it has nothing to do with me. It's all about your boy Joey Opsh.
I told you about the skill. I told you about the skill.
It looks fantastic. Wait until you guys see what I'm talking about. Oh, it's great. Neil's interested too. I love it. I love it. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's get right down to work. Here's what we're looking at. So there's a couple holdovers as I see it from Friday, Atom and VVPR. They're both looking real good. Atom a little bit better than VVPR just based on the volume that it's doing, although they're both up very similar percentages up on the day. Atom looked to me, at least earlier on at around 935, you know, that implied balance open, that it had a whole lot of trouble with 5. And I think I was accurate there because you have a double top into 515, then all hell broke loose down into that 4 1/3, but a very clear downtrend break. And now it looks like we're doing a little bit of a consolidation here. What I worry about when we have that same area of resistance, I'm talking about 5, of course, as we had earlier, is the double top. So my move on this is going to be as follows. I want to build a position into 5. Okay, starting at 5, and then I want to DCA into VWAP, in and around 485. So I have about 15 pennies worth of range, currently about 20, because it's showing 505. But here it comes, into 5. So let's see if it holds up here. In fact, forget about this stupid screen. Let's get down to work. We're going to put Atom on this trading screen, and it's already popped up right into 511. So it gave me 502 for all of 10 seconds. So let's go ahead. We're going to start building the position here. It's not even letting me in. So let's find a little bit of a better entry. Okay, so now we're in at 514, but that ain't the move, right? First of all, we got a small position to start, and we're in towards the high. So let's go ahead, 505, and then we're going to be building a position into 485. So that's going to be my thinking here. Trying to be strategic about the dip trades, not in an area where I know there's going to be a lot of people sitting, because that'll make it harder for me to get the fill. But it looks like this one is maybe a little bit inclined to go up, so it probably behooves me to throw in some profit takers should this one price spike up. This is a very aggressive bottoming tail candle here. Here comes 20. We got 14s on. I'm posting at the $0.25, but there's basically buyer and seller equilibrium here. This candle opened up and is trading at basically the same price. Okay? So now, let's go back a little bit to the black charts here, do a little bit more TA. So where do we find the local area of resistance? Now, we know this one popped up into 543, but it spent all in no time there. That was at 5 to 12. It was 525 that has been a hard level to clear. No closing prints above 5.25. So I'm alive to that as well. Now, if it clears 5.25 on a closing basis, I'm not going to treat it in the same way that I would that 1155 candle. I'll add into this position. So let's see how Atom is going to look here. It's up nice, multiple day runner, up 32, almost 33%, and looking to do it live. I'm also keeping an eye here on OLB, a bit cheaper here. Started out its life at around 42 pennies. That's what it closed out on Friday. But it's been putting some of these higher highs, man. A bit of an upward channel with, you know, the occasional breach of said upward channel. We can trade it as a channel. We can trade it as a breakout, really depending on what's showing. So OLB will be in focus. GVH, I put this one because it's still up big on the day. But when I put it on, it was below the volume weighted average price. It's trying to reclaim that level now. This clearly has a propensity for two things. One, when it makes an intraday high, it almost immediately reverts within about 15 minutes. And number two, it's sporadic in its volume distribution. So look at this, 9 o'clock to about 9:30, we do the bulk of the volume. And then again, 11:10 to 11:30, we do the bulk of the volume, and then it just drops off a cliff. So that's something to be alive to. Currently, you have volume, price action, divergence, price action making higher lows and higher highs. You're not seeing that quite right now with the volume. So that will be in focus. OLB, GVH, looking good. We already mentioned VVPR. And Campus, CMPS, up about 40%. This one's a little choppy, though, and certainly has resistance at 8.5. I mean, we were up above that by, I think, 30 pennies at the max. That is the day high, 880. But we spent no time there. There's one candle that closed above it. The subsequent candle immediately reverted below. So 8.5, we can see selling at 11, selling again at 1145. So that'll be in focus for me. If we can clear 8.5 decisively, this could be a good one. Now, the other move is to try to pick it up on the higher lows. We'll see what it does at 8. But those are the ones that I'm looking at right now. But I think Atom, by far, the best of the bunch.
All right, man. Good stuff. So Sergio asking me here in the chat, Joe, do I buy other cryptos like Ether? Yeah, I used to own a little bit more. Now I don't. I was trading ETHA as well, too, for quite some time. And then we got all out of that stuff at the break when it really started to move a little bit lower. But other than that, I just stick to Bitcoin. I did own some Dogecoin. And my buddy and I, just for, who remembers, I think it must have been 4 years ago now, when the exchanges got hacked, but all it did was on the interface essentially was change the numbers. Do you remember that, Sharif?
No, I don't.
It's like, so like Dogecoin was at like 1,000, like 10,000 bucks. Like Bitcoin was at like $1 million on like Coinbase and everything. If anybody remembers that, and I thought, me and my boy, we thought we did it, right? We thought we did it. I'm like, get out of everything, because we had about we have 50 million Safe Moon. Do you remember that thing?
That's
Safe
crazy.
Moon? Yeah, but 50 million. Now the thing was like $50 each. We spent $100, and we're like, we did it. We're like, yes, we did it. But then, sure enough, hackers just hacked it and changed the price of everything. But on the actual exchanges, I don't know. But on the actual exchanges, the value didn't change on them whatsoever. So yeah, we thought we did it there, and I thought that was it. I thought I was officially retired.
It's all over, bro.
$50 million or something along those lines. Yeah, it was absolutely insane. But that wasn't the case. And then reality kicked right back in. So let me know if you guys remember that, especially here in Toronto. It's very interesting. So no, other than that, Dogecoin, Safe Moon, that me and my buddy were still sitting on 50 million of those bad boys. I own some Shiba, but that was just that was kind of just playing around with it a little bit. And then Bitcoin has just always been my primary holder. You can have fun with the meme coins, that's for sure. But if you guys remember that was good. That was crazy. Yeah, Dogecoin. So I was involved in. So a bunch of buddies and myself, we pooled our money in together, and we bought Dogecoin at like 3 cents, and then we sold it at 80. But ask us how it goes. When you have a group of 5 friends and things are ripping and you start to see money drastically increase, things change, right? Like people
really?
yeah,
I can believe that. I can believe that.
People are like, hold it, like diamond hands it. The other friends are like, give me my money, take me out, which wasn't bad, right? Like it wasn't horrible because we've known each other for so long. It's not like it ruined a relationship or anything along those lines. But it wasn't bad. $500 each. Quadruple the money, a little bit more than that, and then you get out, and then eventually Dogecoin did start to sell a little bit again. So yeah, a lot of fun in the crypto space. Again, I don't think that's the time for this right now. Wait for things to slowly curl around. Alt season, I would say, is definitely dead, if you ask me. Silver getting a little bit of a rebound here, guys, off of those lows, not too bad. 65.91. You've seen the momentum slowly start to uptick here in silver as it curled over, and then sure enough, you found a base right there around 65.54. Zim is still continuing to move to the south side, and our thesis is correct today, but just timing slightly off. So you can see on IBIT, we're looking for that move, Wix mail right here, and then it does additional liquidity grab, and then eventually makes that a little bit more lengthy of a move to the downside, tapping right into $38, and then now you're slightly bouncing off of that, and the exact same thing here with silver. Momentum starting to pick up to the downside, guys. And we do have a neckline break on the TQQs, and we're having a little bit of trouble breaking through that zone again. So you can see what was acting as prior support, now acting as resistance, and let's see, 47.80. If that breaks, then you might be able to take that additional leg lower down into the volume weighted average price. So keep that in mind. What's up, Reynolds, Carv? What's up, brother? Let's short Apple. Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll hop right into Apple. Let's see what it's been up to. It's definitely been the stronger out of the mag here today, even though we're starting to see a rebound across the board. Let's see if this move can be sustained. Let's head over to the daily, or we'll head into a 5-minute time frame. Take a look at what Apple is up to, because Katina Man was in this, and it's still hovering around those highs, 261. So strong momentum to the downside. Still a slight inside day, but I wouldn't be surprised at this pace if you breach it and head into what we were experiencing on Thursday's sell-off there.
Don't they have some event this week? Some crap?
March.
Here we go, ATOM into the high, 39. The high of the day is 43. We have 14s on. Watch out. Here we go. This is taking out some levels. So to me, it was really 520. That was the level that we had a whole lot of 525, to be fair, a whole lot of trouble with. I'm assuming a lot of people got caught offside on this candle here, but this was actually my entry. This was what caused me to get in that $5 hold. It was this candle here because it completely broke trend. I'm talking about the 1210 candle on the 5-minute chart. Breaks trend, but immediately retraces, in fact, closes green. Let's see if this is going to give me an opportunity to get more. We still have just the initial entry into this one. Didn't get any into the teens, or sorry, I'm in the teens, in the single digits, into the 90s in 4. It didn't break trend at all, save and except for that one candle at 1210. So going to keep an eye out on this one. I'm posted now above the high of the day. So by definition, this will have to clear the high of the day for me to get the print. We're going to keep an eye on OLB as well, because OLB is definitely in that range at around $1, where I wouldn't mind picking it up with a very clear out below 90 pennies. So we're going to risk about 10 pennies, give or take, for that level. So watching for ATOM to try to retest that 543 high. Not immediately apparent whether we're getting any prints above 540. Give me a second. No, in fact, the current candle high is 540. So it is that 10 penny level that's keeping us a little bit back down right now. I remember trading Atom back at $25. Oh my days, really? Yeah, well, that is the life of the small cap gapper, right? It's around, for a little bit, and then it's gone. And a lot of times you'll see this on the daily chart, right, where they have monster intraday moves, only to kind of have no body on the candle, right? Upper wick, lower wick, and very minute body. That is kind of just the typical small cap gapper. Here we go. We're about at 42. We're knocking the door of 43. We're looking for that price spike up. I'm waiting at 45, trying to front run that size, possibly at the $0.50. Let's see if this can print anything at around 43. I'm not seeing anything above 43 yet, so we haven't even tested it. There it is. There's 44. 45, it's a 44 penny high day, dropping down into 39s now. So we do make a new high a day, but no continuation into the $0.50. And as a result, no print for me. Now, this one has been decently spreaded, so it's kind of like 39, maybe 36 on the ask, 2-3 pennies at most, but I have seen it as far as wide as 5. I'm talking, of course, about Adam. So continuing to pack the patience here, looking for a possible dip trade into 525 to pick up more. I say 525 is because that was kind of the level that we had trouble clearing on any closing basis. So if it was a resistance level, I'm now looking for it to be support. Any chance you have a breakdown of the news that they are popping on? Asks Jusic. Let me just have a look over here and see what ATOM is. That's what the blotter is saying. This was a Friday mover, I believe, because I did have it up on my blotter on Friday. So today's 17th. Yeah, my blotter is malfunctioning. I do apologize. Give it a second over here. So the 15th, what would make, sorry, one sec. Let me just see what we got on the side over here. So the 13th. All right, let's see what this had on the 13th. It's licensing prospects as MTS achieves technical milestone. So Atomera signals accelerated licensing prospects as MST achieves technical milestones in AI power segments. You can kind of read the whole thing over here. You can screenshot that if you'd like, something to do with DRAM as well. Highlighted substantial advancements in customer progress within targeted segments, citing very strong technical advantages, I personally don't really care too much about the small cap gapper headlines, but if you're obviously going to swing this and invest or whatever, perhaps you want to know a little bit more about it. Okay, continuing to watch here as we work back into highs, still at 42, looking for a continuation into 45. Doesn't look like we're going to get it, but I want to switch to OLM as well because I want to build a position into this one. It looks like it has a nice bottoming, OLB, excuse me. It has a nice bottoming tail candle, which defends that general dollar area. This candle is making a new high, so this is my invitation to get in over here. Let's see if we can clear that level. What do we get? We got 19s, okay? High a day is 35, so let's post some orders. My move is, though, I'm just gonna basically say exactly what we talked about, right? I wanna defend that dollar into the volume weighted average price, so we in at 19s, we put in another dip trade. Let's look to defend. Prior bar low is what? Prior bar low is 106. Okay, so we wanna definitely pick up some ahead of prior bar low because I'm not looking for a trend break here. So let's go ahead and go 109. Let's see if we get something in and around 109. So that's what I'm looking at, Joey. OLB looking for the move into 135, and Adam looking for the high day break.
Good stuff, good stuff. So we did get that pullback into the volume weighted average price, guys, and you can see the volume really starting to cool off. Where would we have to risk to? 30 cents. That's where you're proven wrong at the break of the low of the day, or sorry, the low of this supply zone area, and the volume weighted average price. That's a good out right there, increasing your risk to reward. And then we also have IBIT, guys, starting to find somewhat of a bottom, it seems like. Keep an eye out on this one. Silver, not doing too much. Once again, just chopping around into this supply zone here, 65.99. But Zim continuing to move to the southeast. Keep an eye out on this one here. A pullback and hold around 75. I think that's going to intrigue me a little bit more, and then we'll get involved on that one. Don't want to chase it or anything along those lines. Microsoft. So what I'm doing is essentially, if I'm thinking about trading the Qs, what are the big boys up to, right? I always tell you guys about this nice print, Gorb. You'll like that. Ooh,
bang.
Ooh, there's a print right there that you want to see on MSFT, a nice bounce. We have the 10-minute time frame. Let's head to a little bit lower so we can see some more detail in these price action prints. But that's what you want to see on Microsoft. Apple continuing to climb higher, still hovering around that neck of the woods. Microsoft, NVDA, what is it up to today? Oh, a big time bull flag here on NVDA. You want to catch the lower end of the range, and then sure enough, maybe you can get a little bit of a move to the top side there. If this guy wants to climb higher, I think you have a good chance that the market is gonna follow with it. But one thing to know, let's head over to the options chain. And when I was just looking at this here, guys, this is something that you really need to keep an eye out on. 49.2% next Wednesday, I believe, is the earnings report. So 3 days from now, all right, it's a shortened week, that's correct. But this was alarming. We talked about 200. When we were going over the options activity this morning, 155,000 at that specific zone. That's increased by 3,000, but then you have 195 as well starting to grow in size. So 112,000 contracts right there, still currently open. I wouldn't be surprised if we do hold below those levels, and if we do have the ability to breach and things, if the script flips pretty quick, then that's when you get that gamma squeeze type of effect. Scott from Brent Gamma, I like how he phrases this, a lot of gamma exposure right here, because that's a substantial amount of open interest with 70,200 contracts right there. Opened and closed on today's session, 57,000 at that 195 strike price. And then if you go over to the put side, not nearly as much activity, okay? 203,000, so 175, ooh, that's pretty big. 175 can act as a potential base here in NVDA as well, too. So keep an eye out on that stuff, guys. What we're gonna do is see if there's any other big earnings reports this week and see what we got. We can go over the expected moves, wait for this pullback here in the TQQs to see if we're gonna get a continuation on today's trend. But first things first, let's go over the top performers today, and that's going to be the financials. You're up 1% there, industrials up 0.7, and in the real estate sector, you're up about 0.4%, a little bit less. Now the bottom three, the mats, energy, and consumer staples, which has been leading the race as of late, right? You're down 2% in consumer staples. Most likely being led by, you've seen Walmart having a tough day today, Costco as well too. So keep an eye out on those guys today and see how the overall market, I'm not saying it's complete rotation, it just happens, right? Tech a little bit in vogue here today. Consumer staples, people taking some profit considering Walmart hit the $1 trillion club. You run into the 130s in this name. It's been on a substantial move. Moving forward, let's see what we got for earnings reports this week. Here's that break on the TQQs right at VWAP. Oh, my days. All right, so Walmart, they're bang. Speaking of the devil, their street Thursday before the open, we have Walmart reporting, John Deere, Lemonade as well. Figma on Wednesday, I think that's interesting. Palo Alto Tuesday after the close, so that's going to be after the close today. And what else? Carvana, I think that's going to be a big one Wednesday after the close. Keep an eye out on that one there, guys. eBay. Not typically an intraday trader, but something to keep an eye on for sure. But Walmart, Open Door, I think that's something that we want to keep an eye on. Klarna as well too. Wayfair, that's typically not too bad of a intraday one on earnings days. But Friday, not much either there.
All right, guys, there goes Adam into a new high day, 565, killing that 550 seller. We're all out. What's going on, Katina, man? 555, guys, so we're out 10 pennies lower than the high of the day. Let's watch now. Does it make an aggressive retracement into that 5.25? It's already losing 5.5, right? So let's continue to watch here. It hasn't lost 5.5 that decisively. Here are my levels. The 10 EMA on the 5 is at 5 1/3, but I'm also looking at that 5 1/4 for the price action break. So that will have to, by definition, necessitate into a 10 EMA breach. Let's continue to watch here as the profit takers really do aggressively take that money off the table, and or the shorts are getting short here. So we're already lower 20 pennies than at the high. So an aggressive sell-off here on Atom, and it's not immediately apparent whether we're going to reclaim the $0.50. So I'm going to continue to stay out of this one now. We do have a higher low relative to prior bar. Prior bar is 37s, current bar low 43. So we're still holding trend. Now this candle though doesn't have a higher high, not by much though. Prior bar high 64, current bar high 63. Right back above the $0.50 it goes. You could give it to prior bar low. So if you don't want to wait for that 33 or 25 and you think that, you know, this is just a momentary red candle, you can get in here, give it to prior bar low. Again, prior bar low is at 37s, but you're almost about 20 pennies removed from that because now we're dancing here at 52s and 51s. You could give it to current bar low if you want to be more aggressive. That'll be 43. So that's about 6 pennies worth of risk. Now 3 pennies worth of risk if you want to do that. So I think that's actually what I'm going to do now that it's dropped off here. Let's go small share size, and we're going to risk into prior bar low. It's not letting me in. Again, the spread has been a little bit annoying on this one. So as I mentioned, prior bar low 37. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll throw in that order there. And we'll look for a continuation. So we have 47s on. I'll have to wait north of the $0.50. Let's see if we can get something in now. I'm not going to DCA into an oblivion, right? If it actually stops me out here, fine. Then I'll look for that other level that I was speaking about, which is a 10 EMA on the 5, which takes me to 31 now. And or we'll DCA into the $0.25. So it's already dropping off. Let's see if it pops back off here. Nope, it will stop me out. And there we go, we're out. So we'll get in a little bit here, but we'll get stopped out. Now watching here, does it hold up at 30? That's the 10 EMA. Let's continue to watch. Let's see what we got here. Now we can take a bit of I would say a bigger position here because this is more technically sound. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll set up at the $0.25 as well. Not for the same amount of shares. Let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll front run it. What do we got? We got 34s on this one. There we go, right back up into 40s. Not bad. Let's see if we can get the print, and then we'll take a little bit more in front of that $0.50 if we can. Not immediately moving back up, but finding some support at the $0.33 off the 10 EMA. Not popping off though. Let's see if we can get that print. Seller at 39 though. All right, how's that OLB trade doing? It's done nothing, man. It feels like we're still putting in lower highs on this one, so I'm a little bit concerned. I'm only one penny out of the money, but this is kind of the look that I'm looking here at OLB. So we had this unbroken lower high chain. What got me into the trade was this bottoming tail candle off a key level, and then another 5-minute candle will make a new high quite decisively. But it feels like it's still suffering from that lower high trend. So I don't know how I feel about OLB at these levels. I'll pack my patience a little bit more, but there goes Adam right back into that mid 40s area. So we went the beak at 40. We're still waiting at 48, so it's going to have to test the $0.50 again. But a good hold here off that key area of technical resistance, now acting as support, Joey, at the $0.30.
Have you been trading GXAI today?
I've seen it though. I've seen it. Some people are yelling about it.
Yeah, I got my eye on maybe GXAI. 5 on it. Yeah, there goes Bitcoin to the downside, guys, looking like it's going to break. And this Zim, I was just messaging Obi, this Zim short has just been all day in play. That's a really nice one, man, going with the flow on that one. So not too bad of a look whatsoever. Now, this is essentially Sharif's small cap scanner here, with the exception of a couple of names. They're a little tweaking here and there, but these are all the small boys. You got 84 million shares traded here on GXAI. I wonder what Luis would have to say about this one, right? Like, is this it? Boom, short to the downside all the way from, I mean, you're not going to catch the peak, so if you play the break of that 177 to a low of around 132, that's not too bad of a look whatsoever. Now, as for the overall market, we did run into those zones that we were talking about not too long ago, and now headed right back up. Let's engage a little bit here, right? Why not? Shout out to that individual in the chat. Boom, and we're going to get involved there. Let's see if we can get the price that we're looking for. I'm willing to buy a little bit more, just considering the ebb and flow of the overall market. So if the big boys are going to start to rebound, I'm posted up at a specific zone. We don't want the TQ's TO. That doesn't exist. So we're posted up just below here, right at 48, 48.01. Let's see if we get that pullback, or it's going to be a breakout. Buying the top end of that range, I think we have a good opportunity to get involved here. Zim also putting in a nice print. Volume starting to kick up on both of the time frames as well. Now, Kahlua, done for today, up 800 on funded futures account. Much love. Hope Valentine's Day was great for you guys. I work at a flower shop, so busy. Now trading till now. Love y'all. Kill it for me.
Love you, man.
We love you, Kahlua. I hope you're killing it still in Vegas. I know you've been partying a little bit down there as well, so don't party it all away, as they would typically say. No, but aside from that, there it is. We're involved in some TQs right at 48 smackers. Let's see if we're going to get a rebound in the overall market. Let's go over the big boys and see what they're up to. And if they're coming against us, if we're not getting that bull flag breakout on the king of the chips, then we might be in a little bit of trouble. And that is going to be NVDA. We're still hovering around. Ooh, you got a little bit of a move there, Sharif. Let's see if we can keep this sustained. Let's head over to the higher time frame. Phase out some of this noise, because that's what we do. We like the 10-minute these days. We've been using the 10-minute quite often there, Sharif. Microsoft, what are you doing? Holding up at this specific zone, you get a bounce there, but goggles is something that we want to keep an eye out on. Starting to form somewhat of a flag there as well, above the volume-weighted average price. Support level, watch for a liquidity grab, maybe and then a continuation. What has Meta been up to? Same narrative, guys. A lot of indecision prints right at the volume-weighted average price, but Broadcom still hovering around the high of the day. I want to add substantially more shares on this trade if it does start to work. Tesla, not doing too much, but if we print another 5, this is a 10-minute. Oh, okay. I don't like it so much on the 5-minute, but this 10-minute, if we keep seeing some buying pressure, there might be a good opportunity. But the downtrend is still fully intact here with Tesla failing to construct a new high, a new high right there. You can't break through that pivot high. That's going to be the opening auction drive, and then sure enough, you get that flush to the downside. So keep an eye out on Tesla. What's the other one that we want to go over to? We don't even want to look at Salesforce anymore, Sharif. List that one. No, I'm sorry. I'm joking, Benioff. We love you still, no matter what.
You see him talk crap about Optimus? You didn't see that video? So your friend Elon was trying to take him, show him Optimus 3.
Yeah.
Bro, by the time that thing responded, you could have got a cup of coffee,
done a bunch
went
of
to
things.
see the pyramids in Egypt, and then, you know, flew back. I mean, it was not tenable.
Yeah.
It's
well, I mean, you see
really
it
bad.
when it grabs like the popcorn, you see it like fill the popcorn bag. It's like.
Yeah, we're in the Tesla diner thing in LA.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
You should have went there when you went and visited.
Well, yeah, it's like 2 hours from my sister.
That's
she's
all right. You're gonna make it right.
Bro,
have you ever seen the movie White Castle?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Harold and Kumar go to White Castle?
Yeah, of course.
Hell yeah, bro.
So then there you go. You got to make that trip and go over to what's it called?
I'll do it for a different reason.
The electric burger.
No, but seriously though, dude, it was slow.
Yeah.
And it was like, it didn't, well, that version doesn't have access to live information. So he was asking it something, I forget, something specific. And he's like, well, I don't have access to live information, but I can show you where the kitchen is. Oh, he's like, do we have any Coke? Like Coca-Cola, right? And he's like, well, I don't know if we have like currently, because I don't have live information, but I can show you where the kitchen is. And then it took him another 20 minutes to turn around and walk. No, it's not good enough, Joey. It's just not good enough.
It's still far away.
So,
yeah, some of these Chinese robots are looking pretty good, though.
See, the Elon says those are a gimmick. He's like, they're very good robotically, but the brain isn't there. So if you're looking at like the actual processing, what can this thing do IRL other than just flip and fight in a ring? You know, well, it's great, right? But in real life, when you actually come to use this, where's the use case?
Yeah, what do you think would be easier to catch up on, the actual robotics and the movement, or integrating the brain?
I think it's the brain that's the most important thing. Yeah, I think that the robotics definitely, they've made progress. A lot of people have made progress on that. All right, guys, we're freaking doing it live right now, man. ATOM in at 34, wet the beak all the way up into 51, but it is having trouble reclaiming that 50 penny level. So I'm alive to that. If we can clear 50 again and clear decisively, I'm going to add into this position. So we got stopped out very briefly for a small amount. We actually got double the amount of shares that we got stopped out on, and now we're looking for a clean 50 break on Atom, looking for a continuation. We've been in this one, I think, since 16s, and we're still riding trend into the top. Now, I also did it live here on OLB, as it did catch a price spike up into 1 1/4, but look at it, it's still suffering from that same affliction of lower highs. It does have these, bamboozling candles that'll break prior bar high, but the general trend is still lower highs. So we're at the 10 EMA. I'm going to pack my patience a little bit more here on OLB, especially since it's up 78%, and I know that it's going to be on a lot of people's radars, but that works both ways, right? The shorts are going to be looking for this one to mean revert. The longs are looking for it to continue. So it's not just because it's up big, that means that we get into it, and we get into it with aggression. Back to Adam over here, watching the higher lows, but also watching very clearly as the price struggles in and around that $0.50. So we are making higher lows relative to prior bar, and we've been doing so since that red candle at 12:30. But guess what? You're seeing it over and over and over that the selling is coming in at the $0.50 without any real decisiveness. I have to go back to OLB because it's dropping back into that 110 area. So this is the important level here. So we have 110 to 1 is a buy area here, and that's where I have my big dip trade sitting, in fact. Initial small size, now we're looking for that bigger size here at 109. So I'm waiting a little bit below 110, and then at 103. We didn't get the 109. So it dips into that level, doesn't cross, we don't get the print. So now I have to make a decision whether I want to chase this. And I don't think that I will, because it's still suffering from a downtrend, the lower high trend. If it was putting in higher lows and higher highs, I feel a lot more confident actually getting into this one and running with the trend to the high side, but it's not doing that. So I don't want to DCA into an oblivion. So I'll keep my high here on OLB. If I get the fill at my level, we'll get in. Otherwise, I'm going to look for the clearing of that 1 1/4 before we get in near the highs. We're going to the big desk.
Slower here for Snowflake, guys. SNOW. Google announcing their big query global queries, which will let you to explore distributed data with a single SQL statement. So again, this new data analytics product from GeoOGL seems to be negatively impacting SNOW. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. What are you looking at, Joseph Options?
Same thing, man. I told you I'm open to grabbing a little bit more here, but at VWAP in the TQQs. Not something that I typically do, but just considering this downtrend is still intact, right? Like we failed to break through that 5-minute opening drive and heading a little bit lower. You can see you're getting almost to a neckline here. This is a big over-under play, I like to call them typically, right? So resistance up here, you break through it, but now can it act as current support? If not, it can break down. And here is silver. I was thinking short on silver throughout the day, and then sure enough, it breaks up through VWAP. So you had to be extremely patient, get in on this consolidation zone. So 2 hours after the open, and then now you're starting to head a little bit lower here, guys. So keep that in mind. We're a quarter out, but I don't have much size. My next ad will wait for any indecision prints, but we also have to keep an eye out on what the big boys are up to as you take an aggressive leg to the downside there in the TQQs. CRM, we were going through them. Let's head back over to AAPL. Is that bull flag breaking down? Not quite, but there is some selling pressure, I should say, at the top end of this range. Microsoft giving up the gab right there. Sharif breaking through some key. You got the gift of the gab, eh, brother? As the English would like to say. There it is, NVDA bull flag heading towards the lower end of the range. You get a punch through, but then you come back into the middle of the supply zone. I told you we're going to have a big time issue at 195 here, just due to the amount of supply. So keep that in mind. Make sure you check on those supply zones, whether you're using Bookmap or the options chain. In order to do so, it can tell you a lot what we have going on. Tesla heading a little bit lower. So I'm going long the market when these big boys are really starting to sell. Not necessarily a good look right here, but we'll mitigate. We'll figure out what we got going on. Any form of a bounce. Maybe we'll find somewhat of a continuation here in the overall market. One thing that's kind of keeping me worried, though, is that you could see some bigger names down double digits. Are we down double digits off this previous high in the Qs yet? Not quite. 6.25. 6.25. So I don't know. Maybe there's going to be a little bit more. 406. Damn, CrowdStrike, man. You not rocking what I want. Down 30% over there. Zscaler not doing too good either.
They're all getting clipped, but it looks like CrowdStrike and Fortinet are getting clipped a little bit harder
today. Yeah,
and Zscaler's
down 50% off of that 337 high.
Oh my
That's
days.
disastrous. That's disastrous. Like, I
so
don't
hold
really
on.
know what to say.
Who's down 50?
Zscaler.
Down 50% from the high?
Yeah.
Oh my days.
49.25.
Dude, the software disruption is getting. Tell me, please, you messed around with Claude Bot. You did some stuff.
Not yet. No.
Not yet. You gotta mess around.
I looked it up here. Have you tried it? Have you tried it yet?
I'm trying to set it up on Cloudflare.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy an entire computer because if you shut that computer off, it forgets everything. You have to run it all the time.
Just leave it on sleep, essentially.
Even if it does that, it loses connection to the air, it forgets everything. So Cloudflare set up a thing for it.
How long does it take to?
A minute.
Yeah,
you have to make new accounts and everything. A lot of people are setting up, if you're going to put a card, you got to buy like one of those prepaid cards because you don't want anything connected to your account because of prompt injection. All right, we got to pause for a second because we have to go to Adair at the big desk.
As we get this push a little bit lower here in the market, we do have some comments that I want to mention here from Fed's Bar. Fed's Bar signaling a potential rate hold, saying that he believes it's prudent for the Federal Reserve to take its time and review incoming data before making policy changes. He wants to see some more evidence that inflation is, quote, ebbing towards that 2% target. And he still sees, quote, a significant risk that inflation will remain above 2%. So some hawkishness coming from Fed's Bar today. He's not the only Fed speaker scheduled to talk today. Guys, we are set to have more Fed speak here around, I believe, 2:30 p.m. That'll be Fed's Daily, who tends to be kind of more mid-range when it comes to hawkishness and dovishness. Back to you.
Thank you very much. All right. Oh, Joey, I got a couple of cover a couple of things. OLB is on its last leg with me. If it loses that dollar area, we're all gone. But there goes Adam, and this might be an ad now into this position here. It's a clean hold of the 10 EMA. It's above the $0.50. It's 4 higher lows in a row, and this candle decisively higher high. We're on the way to 565. We're showing 58s right now, so Adam looks like it's him. BDMD is making a move as well here, Bovin. I know you want to look at PLYX, but it's BDMD that's kind of, well, I think it just got into highs. Excuse me, it did. It took out that 10-15 high, which was 127.5. The official high day is 129. I'd be looking for a dip trade in between 120 to 115. I like that 118 level, so I'm kind of just trying to take the extremities, 120 to 115. Reason 115 is because it's overlapping between volume weighted average price and 10 EMA on the 5. Also, I like the higher lows. You can try to pick up higher lows as well off a trend line. That's been money on BDMD, so be on the lookout for that. But there goes Adam, man. It is taking out highs, taking out local highs, and now is 2 pennies away from the high day. 63 showing up, 65 is a high day. We got 34s. This is the second entry. We're in at 16s. We're gonna go ahead. We're posting at 69 now. Let's see if we can take out the 65 seller. There's 65. They're selling at 65, Joe. We can't shake the seller there, so maybe we can take the opportunity to get in a little bit more, but I also need to keep my eye on that hot garbage. OLB, we're in at 11s. It's showing me 8s now, 9s. I think I'm going to flatten out, break even on this piece of crap. I shouldn't have been DCing into this one. Let's see, 10s showing up. Can we get a little bit higher on this? Come on, let's go, let's go. Nope, the seller at 9s over here, Joey, so we can't get in to that. I'll just take a 1 penny hit if we can get it, and there we go, we're out on this. And then it drops 4 pennies right after I hit the sell button.
That's good.
Must have been my 3 shares there, bro. Oh, that moved the market. No, I'm kidding. Guys, I want to bring your attention as well to BDMD. Let's pull that up on a trading screen. Let's bring this one up and have a look at the spread. Very good look. 1 penny right now, not a bad look at all here on BDMD. Now this is the level, right? We talked about 115s. Here it is. Give me. All right, we're in.
You know what they say though, Sharif?
Give me, never get. Haven't you learned your manners? Yeah, you little punk. No, I'm kidding, of course. All right, it's bleeding, Joey. It's getting me offside here because I didn't say please. All right, what's my move on BDMD? We're holding up into that 109, 110 area. That is where I see the trend line, but we're right at VWAP right here, right now. Let's see if we can get in tiny shares to take advantage of that little price spike down. What do we got now? 17s. It's already showing me 17s. Let's go ahead and post at 20. Let's see if we can get a little bit higher at 25 as well. Let's see what we got. City Boy says SGN. Say less, City Boy.
Say less, City Boy.
Oh, what a move. We're going to take off that hard garbage GXAI, and we're going to put in SGN on the side. Now, this one is, suffering from the same thing, many of these suffer from, that it's below $1. But it looks fantastic here on the chart, 37 penny high, and this is up about 42%. Now, this is on the MX, okay? So right away, it goes under suspicion, okay? Anything trading on the MX, immediately under suspicion. So let's see what this one does. Levels on this one are 32 and change. That's where the 10 EMA on the 5 is, and I'm looking at VWAP at 30.5. That's SGN. That's assuming, of course, it doesn't continue into that 37 penny high. So we're keeping a close eye on that. And we're still holding, man. We're still holding Atom over here, ATOM, still suffering from that flat top at 565 that we can't seem to shake. But BDMDs are treating me well. Okay. We're penny in the money. We haven't printed, though, that 20 or that 25 penny fill. So we're going to keep a close eye here on BDMD, and we're going to wait for those higher lows, Joey. Believe you and me. Oh. It dips down. It dips down into 109, 110. I'm going to add because that's where that trend line is. So keeping a close eye on that. Shout out to City Boy. Thank you, brother, for calling out SGN. We're going to put that instead of the OLB. Oh, no, Joey. Now OLB is going. That was on me, but I didn't want to hold this one. SGN, let's put this one on here. And I said it's on the MX, and it is on the MX. Current bar high, 36 pennies. Prior bar high, and the high at day 37. So be on the lookout here. SGN could be a mover. But again, guys, if this one halts, we won't know what the tap is, so we'll have to fly blind. And by the way, for the newer viewers who haven't been around in a while, when you're looking at my screen and you're looking at the level 2, the red rectangle, so the price that's highlighted in red on my level 2, those are going to be limit up, limit down. So you're going to get the limit down on the left side, that's the bid, and then you're going to get limit up on the right side, that's the ask. So if you're ever looking at my screen, I got the mover on, that's kind of what that means. So you can gauge limit up, limit down based on that. Here comes Adam again, into 65. Joey, we're going to see the same selling. We're seeing it right now. That same annoying seller keeping everybody down here below 65, and he's hidden. Barely any size posted at the gateway. I'm posted at 69, looking for that top to break off. And then if we take out 69, I got a bias here that we could go to 6. So we'll have to look for strategic areas to get in. I'm looking for any 66 prints here because I just saw a 66 flash momentarily on the level 2, but I didn't see anything on the tape. There it goes, Joey, into 71. We get the print at 79. Adam is taking out highs. There goes BDMD as well. Where is it, man? Taking out my level as well. We got 17s. There's 23. We're looking for BDMD to take out 29 penny high. It's up 60%, and it's holding those higher lows. Adara.
Keep an eye on AAPL, which is at intraday highs. I'm just seeing a report coming through that the company is ramping up its work on AI glasses, a pendant, and camera AirPods. So nothing massive here, but just be aware AAPL reportedly ramping up work on AI glasses, a pendant, and camera AirPods. As Sharif alluded to earlier here today, we are having an Apple event, though they're calling it an Apple experience on March 4th of 2026. Back to you.
What are we going to experience, Joey? The lack of AI? What are we going to experience, brother?
We knew that already.
I need to have some sort of experience.
We did, but
I've had none.
You got to go outside of Apple, my friend.
Joey, you seen the Fold? Did we talk about the Fold last week?
The Google?
No, the Apple Fold.
No.
Have you seen what this thing is going to look like?
No.
It's going to open up to an iPad.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so it's not going to be your typical. So the rumor was that they were going to have two iPhone Airs together. And that was going to be the body, and it was going to be like your typical Samsung that was going to fold. No, bro. It's going to be a book style. So short and wider. And when you open it up, it opens into an iPad.
Okay, so it won't fit in your pocket?
It will, because it's short and a little bit wider. So it's about, say, maybe here, like that, but a tad bit wider in that sense. And then you open it up like this, and it's going to be super. Well, we'll get to that in a second.
The Pixel 10, have you seen that?
The Pixel 10 is like the same thing, though, brother. It's a book, so it gives you a square screen. It doesn't give you a 16:9. Okay. Right? So it's completely unnatural in the way that you use it. More on that in a second when we go to Adara.
Yeah, just another really quick update here with this headline. META reportedly, or I guess not reportedly, but META seems to be having moved down on this at least a little bit. We did get that spike all the way from like 636 to 632 a couple 3-minute candles ago. And this does look like it's on that Apple headline. Again, basically the idea being that these AI smart glasses are designed to compete with Meta's offering. So again, Apple reportedly looking to compete directly with Meta with regards to its AI smart glasses. Also seeing some comments here from Ancora, an activist investor involved with the Warner Brothers, saying that they are, quote, pleased that WBD is opening talks back up here with PSKY. Back to you.
Trying to find the right one to show you guys. It's none of these, SSE. No, it's none of these. So if I can, it's the guy on TikTok. He's the guy that I go to. Let me see if we can show it here. Yeah, you can't see it here. You know how it leaked, though, right?
No.
So you know they gotta send the design to all the people that are gonna make the cases and everything that comes with
how
that.
Things get leaked.
Yeah. So the digital design. So someone 3D printed what it looks like. And it's none of these. None of these. None of them. None of them. It's gonna have two cameras on the back, so it will look like this. Anyway, though, whatever. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I'll have to find the right one. Guys, we have some stuff here that's happening. Adam just printed another high day into 83s. Now, I know some of you guys got bamboozled on that because it made a 78 penny high and then dropped all the way back down into 57. But it still held trend. The higher lows, the higher highs, everything is still holding trend. Nothing is breaking down here on Adam. So we're going to have to figure out a way to get in ahead of 6 because the bias was that this was going to squeeze into 6. And now we're about 17 pennies off that $6 level. So ATOM is absolutely him. This one was running on Friday, it's running on Friday. It's running again today. It holds the highs. It makes higher highs, higher lows, everything. The trend is on for Adam here. So it's a multiple day runner. My move is going to be looking for a possible attempt to breach prior bar low, maybe mid 60s. Maybe you're looking at 65. 65 was the flat top break that we got. It was a 3-candle rejection at 65. Now it goes up into 84. So Adam in focus. And that other one that you guys called out, SGN, is still in focus here. 37 penny high, but now we have two lower highs in a row relative to that 1245 candle. That is a 37 penny high. Then it's 36. Then it's 35.5. So we're still in a bit of a downtrend. I have a bias here that the buy zone is between 33 to 31.5. Reason is 33 a little bit ahead of that 10 EMA, and then 31.5 a little bit ahead of that VWAP. So it's a bit of a zone there between the 10 EMA and VWAP. That's what I'll be keeping my eye out on there. But BDMD disappointed me a little bit. It did price spike up into 129, right, and then it comes right back down into 118. So the deal is we're moving up our stop. We're moving it up to break even on this monster in case it really wants to revert. I want nothing to do with it if it reverts. I'm going to be looking at getting in at SGN over here into 33s, 33s to 31.5. So that's what I'll be looking at. Robinhood, Ventures Fund at 10, says Zen Zombie. Robinhood Venture Fund at 10. What does that mean? Thank you for the $2 super chat. What does that mean? Do you know what that means?
The venture fund? Are they having
10?
like yeah.
At 10 p.m. or a.m. tomorrow or what? You don't have to tag. You don't have to. Sorry, just tag us though.
Take a look.
Yeah.
We can figure it out.
Let's do it. Man, I'm starving, man.
What'd you eat, man?
Nothing. That's probably why. What do we got, Joey?
Robinhood Ventures.
Is there any events?
Fund announcement, launch of initial.
Have a look.
Yeah. Today, Robinhood's venture fund is announced to launch the roadshow in its initial public offering to common shares to beneficial interest. RVI has filled the registration sentiment. The Securities and Exchange Commission to offer 40 million common shares of the beneficial interest at expected initial public. There, maybe. To learn more, okay, so is it an offering of some form? That's interesting. Let's pull up.
Tag us, Zen Zombie, brother. What do you mean by that? Like, tag us. City Boy, yes, I have heard of Reddit True Died. Yes, it is. It's basically right now in phase 3 studies by Eli Lilly, but it's being widely misused. I don't want to say misused, but it's being widely used. Basically by bodybuilders and people in the fitness community. They're buying it directly from China. Obviously, there are many different risks that come with that. But yes.
I have it.
Go ahead, Joey.
So yeah, Robinhood's Venture Fund 1 offering consists of 35 million common shares of beneficial interest being offered on the RVI.
So what is this, IPOing?
No, it's not, maybe. I don't know if it's some form of offering, right? So
okay, let's go to Adair. Yeah. I think she's got the information
on this.
So it appears that Robinhood Venture Fund at 10 refers to the fact that Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev and Robinhood Ventures Fund President Sarah Pinto are holding a live streamed presentation today at 1 p.m. Eastern, but 10 a.m. Pacific. So that is very likely what Robinhood Ventures Fund at 10 refers to. I will be watching this. It looks like it starts right now. If there's anything of interest, I'll let you know. But again, it looks like that RVI, the Robinhood Ventures Fund 1, will be launching the roadshow for its IPO. As Joe mentioned there, the pricing of that, they're expecting to price this IPO at $25 a share. I'm going to be watching this event and covering it for you guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Bovin, for explaining that as well. Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, very interesting. I'm just going to keep my my hood chart on the top there in case it does anything erratic. We'll have a look at it. There are Robinhood. I believe there are Robinhood leverage ETFs if you guys want to trade this more from an intraday kind of look, keep that in mind. But here comes SGN. There it goes into the high. It's at 37 pennies. It ends up holding up at 37, but I feel like maybe we're catching the shorts on the rope here, on the ropes. There it goes. Joey took it out by all of 0.11 pennies. So we're looking for continuation here on SGN. It's got a good looking chart under it. Good percentage up on the day, about almost 50% now.
It's Apple.
Sorry?
I was just saying, there goes Apple putting in a new high today almost. Yeah, this thing's been on a run. There you go, Katina,
I heard about that trade today, Katina, man. Attaboy. So that, yeah, we'll keep an eye here on SGN boys and girls, 37.42, ladies and gentlemen. Looking for continuation. It looks really good. It looks really good. So good that it didn't even touch the 10 EMA on the 5 and hasn't since the candle at 12:30. So this one is kind of showing its strength here, even though, it is south of $1. We're going to look to try to get in. Let's go ahead and try to get in here. We're going to risk about a couple of pennies in the 34s. Okay. No. 30. I have to risk at 33 because prior bar low is 33 3/4. Okay. So if we're going to get in here, I have to give it at least a prior bar low. So we're in. Where are we in? We're in at 36. Let's go ahead and post at the different penny levels. So we'll go 37s. Oops. We'll go 38s as well. Let's see what we can get, but I also might want to get some dip trades, so long as those dip trades don't breach prior bar low. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, this is really coming down. Let's go ahead and wait over here at 34 and change. I'm going to wait 34s actually, and then we'll stop out if it loses prior bar, which I mentioned 33 3/4. So that's my look there. Adam coming back down a little bit here, 591 high coming into 69. Current candle is lower low. So we breach prior bar low. Look for a hold up, number 1, at 565 on Adam. That doesn't hold. You're looking for the 10 EMA on the 5, which is basically 5 high 50s, 557, 558. Otherwise, you're really looking at 5 1/4, the next area of support, right? That was the flat top break that we couldn't shake basically all morning. That would be the only level I'm looking for there, 5 1/4 if 560, 550 breaks there. All right, keeping an eye here on SGN. There it goes, taking out all my orders, 37s, 38s. Sucks we didn't get more though. It came right into my order but didn't cross 34, so we didn't get any filled. Let's go ahead and wait now at 39 here on the boy here. SGN, did I get stopped out of BDMD? Oh, what the helly? Oh, that sucks. How come I got stopped out? Oh, yeah, okay. I gave it too tight of a range there. I see. Okay. Well, this doesn't look that bad, though. I might want to get back into this. Yeah, that was a mistake there. I should have been giving it a little bit more room. That means I have a crappy price, though, now. I'm going to get in. Let's get in here on BDMD. There we go. And it's not even letting me in now because it's moving. All right. So we have to get in at highs, which sucks. I hate that. Oops. All right, let's throw in some orders. And 29 is the high of the day, so we'll go 28s. On that, SOPA is moving up, says Bovin. It's breaking $1. That could be a good move for it here. It's still lighter on volume, Bovin. It's a 99 penny name. It's only done 3.71 million shares at 104 today. By the way, guys, sorry, no news segment today. I didn't have the opportunity, obviously, to do the morning notes, so we'll forego that today, and we'll start back up again tomorrow. So.
Bright and early, bright and early.
Bright and early, bro. Absolutely.
All right, Shreve, you got anything there? We're going to cover some Apple here, brother. As Katina Man's still long, you can hit the diamond hands one more time there, Mr. Katina Man. As you do put in a new, there it is, bang, diamond hands.
There he is, bro.
A new high of the day there on AAPL. I'm still sitting in this TQQ's trade. NVDA, once again, did pop right into a new HOD, guys. We're getting slammed down immediately, so not too good of a look there. We need this guy to participate, but we continuously talk about those supply zones. So if we get an additional push to that HOD, maybe we will trim some up. But I'm like, Gorev, I'm going to try to hold this one, but we are running into some resistance zones that we need to take into consideration, right? So if we head over to this 5-minute time frame, we'll get in a little bit more detail and go to the LTFs. So what was once support now acting as resistance? If we can get into the middle of this supply zone, then maybe I'll look to take a little bit off. But right now, if it's working for me, I'm just going to rock and roll. Worst case scenario, he comes back to the break even, and then you get out of dodge, and you're in the exact same place in which you started with. So you get back the unrealized, but you just take a look there. So as for the TQQs, once again, starting to come back in. If it breaches this, then we might be in a little bit of trouble. But a nice pop. And where did this pop come from? This break high, right? Oh, there goes Apple. Oh, that's not good whatsoever there, Gorev. Look at these lower time frame prints right here. And if this closes as an inverted, there might be a good opportunity. You want to wait for it to start to form that base up at around the top end of that range, and then you might be able to find somewhat of a short. But you want to go against the grain on these big boys. Just be cautious and be prepared to get out when you're supposed to, all right? So not too good of a look right now for the long. NVDA coming back in, chopping around that neck of the woods, around that high of the day. That bull flag breakout didn't work how we were expecting it to, and then Amazon starting to come back in a little bit too. So be prepared to sit through some ebbs and flows within this overall market, as it's tough to find a definitive direction unless you're looking at some of the Apples. Broadcom was strong today. Tesla hasn't been as cool, and the same thing with Meta as well too, guys. So a lot of sideways price action helping lead the market into some chop, and that's totally fine. TSM, what has it been up to? MU, I heard MU was performing relatively well today. Let's take a look at MU. Bro. Pardon me?
It's getting clipped.
Yeah, well, again, I didn't look at it, so I heard it was all right. It did put in a high of the day.
Above 400, to be fair.
Yeah, it's above 400 on the daily. How's it performing? Not too bad. I mean, if you go back and look at the Amazons and everything along those lines, you're down 12% off of that high. What is Amazon off of its high? I think this thing's a buy. Well, I mean, not yet. It's the same narrative, right? Like I'm talking about Netflix and everything along those lines. Wait for the trend lines to be broken. Even though it's not very orderly, it's very hard to tell, like, hey, when is this going to be broken, considering it does feel like somewhat waterfall type price action. You get any form of a bounce. That doesn't necessarily mean engage, but just be cautious on what you got going on. Sorry, I think it's kind of funny. Down 23% right there is AMZN. A tough look. Once again, we'll skip. Why is CRM so high up in my thing? We're going to move this bad boy all the way down here, Sharif, to the
It might be good to keep it up there. It's always short that bad boy.
To the dumpster, we'll throw Salesforce. But, ooh, guess what?
What?
Guess how much Ethereum? You already looked, man.
I didn't look at anything, bro. What do you want from me, bro? I can't even see that.
All right, good. How much?
I'm looking right now. I can't see it.
How much we down off the top in Ethereum?
60%.
Bro, you're like
on my life, I didn't look.
All right, on the life.
Are we at 60?
Yeah, we are down 60%, 59%. So there it is. Tom Lee company right there.
Lovely.
That one, I know Sean. We play the Tom Lee thing with Sean there because I know those guys are.
Say that again, Katina man. Is Bitcoin? Yeah, it's 60,
a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I mean,
we're going to 80
66,
probably.
66, the high of 120. Yeah, you're around 50% on Bitcoin as well too, right?
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, let's take a look at what we are on Bitcoin. So poor Mr. Saylor, well, actually not poor Mr. Saylor. He's officially been underwater on that one. 46% on Bitcoin off the highs there. So,
He's gonna have to start loaning some people to buy his.
Well, I don't know. What do you do at that point? I don't know. You just diamond hand. You just stick with the.
Did you see? I sent. Did I send it? Oh, I sent it to Brendo, but it's Instagram, and I know he didn't watch it. Dude, you got to see what this guy says. He's on Squawk Box with Becky Quick. She's like, you know, what if Bitcoin goes to 5,000? He's like, well, yeah. She's like, he's like, I'll buy more. She's like, with what money, right? She'd be like, I won't have any problem picking up money. The default risk here is negligible. It's like, what? You know, I gotta send you this video.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I gotta see this video.
He's delusional. Listen to him, he just makes stuff up.
She's like, you know, who's gonna lend you?
Yeah.
When you've drawn down so much, and he's insistent that he's gonna be able to get money. I'm not saying he's right, but that's what he said.
Would you give him any money?
Me?
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't give him money, no, but because I don't have any money to give like that. But you know, clearly banks maybe who want some risk appetite. I don't know. He seems to be pretty confident. Otherwise, you know, he's just stone cold lying to keep everybody from punching out of the position, right? I'll send you that video. I think it's probably worth watching.
Fabian sent us something cool as well, too. Did you see, like, there's this Korean market. They made a mistake. I forget when it was. I think it was a while ago, February 6th. Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago in South Korea, an exchange by accidentally sent a bunch of wallets, a bunch of crypto. What? Yeah, and just made them rich. Yeah. Send them a bunch of Bitcoin.
Did they have to send it back?
I don't know. I don't know if they had to do that.
Did you hear about that? You know, sadly, of course, that anchor woman, Nancy Guthrie, that they kidnapped her mom.
Yeah.
So they're asking for Bitcoin. Now, I'm not saying the whole thing it jives because it stinks from a lot of different angles, right? Yeah. But why do you want Bitcoin? Yeah. You unleash AIs onto the blockchain, I'll be able to trace you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
easily.
You know when the wallet's active.
That's the whole point of the ledger. Oh, but there's there's a scrambling method.
Is there?
Yeah.
But there's like no counter to that scrambling method?
But I heard it makes it really difficult.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's a scrambling.
Okay, well, that's probably why.
You can scramble it, and then it just like really messes it up. So it's a criminal activity aspect of it.
Papacito says, look, the risk is de minimis at this point. I don't know, brother. Perhaps the people who loaned him the money feel a little bit differently. But I see your point. I see your point completely, but I just, you know, Bitcoin does what it does. And, you know, if you know what the retracements were, if you looked at the chart in 2013, you looked at the chart in 2018, you looked at the chart 2022, you know what to expect. You can't handle that. You don't have the money to DCA. Yeah. This is not for you. Simple, right? Stay away from it.
Oh my God.
What's up?
I just hit the heavy.
You're in heavy? All right, let me take over that.
I didn't mean to do that.
All right, man. We're holding here on SGN. I'm looking for that break through 38. It keeps popping up above 38. What Saylor said. Oh, the risk is de minimis. Yes, he did say that, Papacito. Yes, we're talking about the same interview, right, with Becky Quick. Yeah, he did say That made me chuckle. Keeping an eye here on SGN, guys. We're in at 36. It's having a whole lot of trouble taking out 38s, but there is support at 35, so I wouldn't necessarily get out here. In fact, I had a dip trade at 34. I think that should be moving up to 35. In fact, I think that that's exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Papacito. I misunderstood, brother. I apologize. Guys, OLB's taking out highs here. Let me just flip to OLB. I think it was over here. There goes OLB. It's on the way back to 1.25. We should have held on to this one, but hey, sucks to be me. 135 high. It's showing 122. Looks like it's making its way back up. We're going to pause. We're going to the big desk.
More comments from this Robinhood stream and more comments from Fed's Bar. The Robinhood stream has been pretty uneventful, which is why I haven't mentioned it yet. I mentioned in the chat, the audio is pretty bad on this stream. It's worth noting, but regardless, the reason I bring up this stream now is because Vlad Tenev, CEO of the company and president of RVI, that's Robinhood Ventures, Sarah Pinto, they just announced that Robinhood customers will be able to start getting their IPO shares of RVI on the platform now. Stream's not quite over yet. Apparently, you'll be able to start getting these shares once the stream ends, but right now it looks like they're doing a Q&A off of X. Again, I'll continue to listen to this to see if there's anything of note. Fed's Bar, though, saying that there is a risk that AI could raise structural unemployment over time. Nothing super shocking there, but he is still talking, guys. Back to you.
Good stuff there. All right, so yeah, we did not mean to do that. We just double upped our size right there, Sharif. All right, let's go. I mean, you don't want to panic too quick, right? Bang, just like that, man. If we can break this pivot here on the TQQs, that's going to be absolutely good. Oh, I thought that was these dark pool prints. I thought we just squeezed up to 48.20.
Isn't that nice, bro? When that happens,
I'm like,
I love
what the heliante? Like, that's so not fair. You get yourself
Dark
all
pools,
excited
bro.
and stuff. Yeah, I know.
Dark
Neil
pools.
said you can kind of get that away. So let's see what we can do on that front. But yeah, let's take a little bit off here because this is really starting to work out good for us. And that's what we want to do, reduce a little bit of our exposure. So now we're back down to 47.60. That's not too bad of a look right now, guys. A nice little move to the top side here in the TQQs. If we can break this pivot level, if we can breach this high, then I think we can be in a pretty good position for a continuation to the top side. Once again, I got my eyes on the big boys. Microsoft starting to find a little bit of a bottom and starting to bounce here. That's good for us. AAPL, same thing, hovering right back towards that high. Microsoft doing this, we talked about that. NVDA right back towards the high of the day. So there's a couple things aligning for us, and that's exactly what we want to see. Breach through this specific level, and then I think we can be rocking and rolling here once again. And I think it's just going off for Mean posting in the chat. Oh, that was, oh no. Okay, so that's a hefty pullback here in the TQQs. We'll be prepared to get out at break even if it does come back to that specific zone. Do we want to compress? No, we want to eliminate some of this noise, I think, here, guys. Let's get rid of some of that. We're going to go to a higher time frame right now and see what we got going on here in the overall market street.
All right, Joey. We added in the SGN bottom wick, looking for a continuation though into 38. It's not taking it out. So I'm adding here into the dip trades a clean hold off the 10 EMA. The only problem is we're still putting in lower highs, and we've been putting in lower highs since that 38.5 touch. So be on the lookout here for SGN. It could be luring you in with a 10 EMA hold, only to reject off that 38.5. I'm going to keep my eye very, very close on that 34 area. That's where I exit, keeping an eye on this one. Adira.
Robinhood event just ended, so now Robinhood, people who use Robinhood customers will be able to request shares of that RVI, Robinhood Ventures IPO. I do have some more details of the IPO that I think are very much worth mentioning. They are targeting a $1 billion valuation for the IPO, as mentioned in the prospectus, at $25 a share. And apparently that IPO is going to happen next Thursday. So Thursday, February 26th, we will have we're expected to have the IPO of Robinhood Ventures, or RVI. The stream ended, so if you are a Robinhood Markets customer, it looks like you are now able to request those RVI IPO shares. The other thing they mentioned was there could possibly be dividends if they're in a situation where they end up having excess cash flow for whatever reason, but the goal right now is not for RVI to be providing dividends. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll have to wait for that. Very interesting stuff here. We'll have to see what Vladdy T has got up his sleeve and whether, you know, he gets mass participation. Very interesting look. Let's take a look at the chart here on the hooded one. See how much we're down off the top, because I know this one's been getting clipped as well. See over here. So this is Robinhood. We put in all-time highs, I believe. Fabian, if we can go to the chart, brother. At 153.86. That was on the 6th of October, I believe. Let me just double check. 153.56, 153.86. So it's 153.86. So it's this day here. Since that high, that day ended up being red, by the way. Yeah, we're over 50%. It sucks. It's not a good look, right? 54 1/3. And you got, you didn't quite get the death cross yet. So the 50 and the 200 awfully close. So if that 50 drops below $100, that's going to be the death cross. And mind you, you haven't gotten any noise in terms of 50 crossing above the 200 for years. Let's see, when's the last time the 50? Okay, so you got the golden cross. You got it literally in the first part of 2024. So you got it to the end of 23, right? December 20th, 2023. That's when you got the golden cross. And the 50 hasn't crossed below the 200 since that time. Until, it still hasn't, by the way, but we are awfully close. So Robinhood, and this doesn't look good either for Robinhood. I mean, if this could change things, but who the hell knows, right? Look at that pop off that 70, pops back in to about almost 90, 89, touches a 10 EMA, drops back down right into 70, making lower highs. That's a tough look. That's a tough look. So perhaps it's a good entry point, but you're going to have to do your own math on that. At BDMD, we're taking prints. We just took into 19s there. Let's see if we can get that continuation. But SGN coming back down now on this monster. So watching here for a loss of 34. And if we lose 34, I'm out. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, 34, yep. And then we'll go just like this. Let's go and see ya. All right, there we go. And then we threw that in there as well, Joey. So that's what my look is right now. We got SGN. We got, do you know Robinhood's over 50% off the top, and you're about to get the death cross as well.
I'm well aware, my boy.
We're pretty close.
Yeah, it's not looking good. It's the same narrative, right? Like there's no doubt in my mind. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not going to be down 50% all the time. It'll rebound, right? You go through a couple rough quarters. It's been a multiple hundreds of percent, obviously, since those April lows. This thing goes on a monster run. And then sure enough, you give back a lot of that. So this thing's going to need to double, essentially, now that Truth says you're down 50% in order to just get back to that previous high. It may take a lot longer than what we're expecting, but that's okay. I'm willing to sit through it. We locked in some gains on it, reduced some, and then I bought some more back at 122 off of that. I sold some at like 136 or something along those lines, bought back at 122 into full size, yeah, which hasn't been good whatsoever. But I mean, the majority of my positions, again, mentioned like 2 years worth of gains, a year and a half worth of gains. Like I lost, what was it? Yeah, over 5 figures of unrealized gains on IBIT. What do you want me to do, right? Like, it's substantial amounts of money. You have to be willing to sit through that stuff. It's not fun. There goes the TQQs to the top side, guys. A nice breakout. We got all out there at 47.70s. But yeah, across the board, it was the same thing. Robinhood gone, Bitcoin, it's AC Slater to all that, unrealized gains. It's just the narrative of the beast. I heard Katina Man say, though, and I'm not going to forget this. I'm not going to forget that you said this, Katina Man, is that Bitcoin, he said he doesn't know if it will ever get back to those all-time highs. And the way that it looks right now, it's pretty scary. And it's gonna, I think what it is that there's a lot of fear within the space, and I just believe that it's going to take significantly longer than what we're anticipating. All right, that's just my opinion. Typically, we see the multi-month consolidations. It took Bitcoin years and years to put in a new all-time high, and it didn't perform too well off of that. There goes the TQQs bouncing. Yeah, that's unfortunate that we didn't hold on to that position. Is what it is. Small potatoes, nature of the beast, ebbs and flows, comes against you, works in your favor, does what it does. Didn't hold on long enough to this one. But yeah, Bitcoin going to take a lot longer. Same with Robinhood. It's just whatever it may be, 6 months to a year. I just don't think by the end of 2026. And I remember what I said to Katina Man, and this was in 2025 after the tariff tantrum. I'm like, there's zero chance that the market is going to put a new all-time high in that year. And sure enough, it did. and it put in multiple. So who knows? But I just believe this is the time. We went on those runs. It was exuberant enough. People a little bit cautious about the whole space. Might take significantly longer. You need that new wave of participants to step back in. There goes TQs.
There you go. There you go. Joey Opsh with a bit of a bearish view on the market, so be forewarned. People are saying FJet. I see it.
Yeah, there goes.
It's breaking out into some local
Same with
highs.
Apple. People are going gung-ho about Apple here as well.
Going?
Yeah, 263.
Oh.
Yeah, the new high of the day.
Have you seen some of the products that Bloomberg is reporting they're making? Did you see this?
No.
Okay, let me pull it up over here. So apparently, accelerating the development of 3 new wearables. Let's bring it in so we can zoom it in. So 3 new wearable devices, smart glasses, a pendant, and AirPods with expanded AI capabilities. The one I heard about was obviously the AirPods. I've been reporting to you guys on that for a while. What I did learn a little bit more this weekend was apparently the cameras are going to be on the AirPods are going to be infrared, but they're going to have that kind of fisheye look, and they're going to be able to kind of communicate to you what you're seeing, what your surroundings are. You know, there's a lot of concerns with privacy when it comes to these wearables, especially wearables on both sides of your face. And if you have fisheye, that would be like 170 degrees and 170 degrees, so almost 360 degrees there. But yeah, this is interesting to see. Now, what they're also saying is there's going to be a $799 MacBook, very basic MacBook, which they're expecting to really eat into the PC laptop market. A lot of people would like to have Macs, right? Laptops, but the price is a little prohibitive. Now it's not gonna have the M series chip. It's gonna either have the A19 or the A20, so the mobile chip, but that's the chip they're using on the 17 Pro Max, right? So we know it's already robust, very quick. I can vouch for that. Whether or not it's quick in the desktop form, we'll have to wait and see. But the one that I was surprised about, surprised, not surprised, was the smart glasses. I didn't hear anything about a pendant, but that seems to be make sense as well. Something that you can just kind of wear there and it views the world as you see it. We'll have to wait and see. You know how Apple is, super cagey, and you only really find out about what they're thinking through leaks, like we talked about with the Fold. The Fold is the one that I'm kind of excited about, but apparently it's gonna be super expensive because Samsung's price point right now is like $2,300 for the Samsung Fold. So they're saying there's no way Apple comes in at a lower price point than Samsung. So we're talking about like $2,500 to $3,000, so about 8,500 Canadian. No, I'm kidding, of course, but the point is that we're talking about MacBook Pro prices, if you believe some of the reports about what Apple is going to price this thing at. Obviously, I think it's one of those products where they don't expect too many people to buy it, like the Vision Pro. We'll have to wait and see what they've got up their sleeve, but I'd be interested to buy something like that, especially if it drops the form factor into like a shorter version that it can have the option to kind of flip into an iPad. I think a lot of people wouldn't mind having kind of an iPad on demand sort of thing. All right, I'm flipping from OLB back to SGN because SGN just put in a bottoming tail candle here, and I like the look of this one's jib. So we're getting in. We're looking for a continuation now into 36.5. Let's see if we can get a price spike up into there, and then 37.5 possibly. What's my out on this? Prior bar low. So we'll go ahead and we'll throw in the stop there, prior bar low, which takes us down into about 33 2/3. Joey, what do you got?
Yeah, same thing. I was just talking with Gorb in the chat, man. This is really unfortunate. Was it Lemony Snick? It's a series of unfortunate events right here. And sure enough, boom, just as I'm like, all right, let's get out of this just in case we get some form of a breakdown. The big boys ripped to new high of the days. So that's the nature of the beast. This would have been primetime Deion Sanders right there if we were fortunate enough to participate in that. I would have been really, really happy. It would have flipped us. Anyways, we take a big chunk of our loss on the day off here. With that being said, but if we got that nice move, that's what if history. With that, we got to look at some new opportunities. Is this move going to be sustained throughout the intraday session? There's Microsoft, Gorv. I know you've been trading this one a couple times last week and the week before that maybe. Boom, boom. Nice prints off the 10-minute on the lows, and then now you continue to climb a little bit higher. So there it is, a nice rebound. And the same thing with NVDA, right? Putting in a new HOD, breaks up, and then sure enough, it helped drag the market with it. So Amazon as well. breaking up through the volume-weighted average price. Tesla, there it is on the 10 minutes, showing a little bit of some signs of strength there, guys, and the volume stepping in. When we talk about breakout in the break of trend lines, you want to see that volume step in, and then sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And you can look at the 5-minute time frame, the 10-minute time frame, and then when you head into more detail and head over to the lower time frames, that's when it really starts to ramp up. So this was, if you see this, right, and then the preceding candle is equally as strong. So we talk about effort and result. Look at the print of this candle right here. Let's actually zoom in so we can see this a little bit better. If I was involved and I see that this candle is almost as strong as the previous one before, but the result is nowhere close to it, I like that. That's when you really start to gauge and read that volume profile, because it can tell you, world, that is significant signs of strength in my opinion. And then that one's like hold your horses, be like Katina Man, and just continuously ride the wave as Apple put in a new high of the day. So nice work there, volume kicking in, a lot of things correlating together and making you stay within that trade. For me, I got out too early and I paid the price on a big time opportunity right there. So is that the one that you got there? It's not it?
No, these are all wrong.
They're all false. So yeah, Ramin.
I tried to look for that, but
I mean, they're not going to make it easy to find. I don't think
it's on TikTok, but like if we pull that up, Joey, you know, we'll get dinged, obviously. But we don't want to. Yeah, so thing,
it's not that important. We'll see it eventually at some point.
Yeah, I'll take screenshots of it tomorrow. I'll have it for you guys tomorrow. It should be. It should. If you believe the rumors, I think it is a good form factor, just because it kind of gives you that iPad option. But again, you know. That's going to be later in the year. We're talking September. Really, I want to hear more about this AI thing, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to have so many different products come in and be based upon Apple Intelligence, and we can't even get Apple Intelligence right, then I don't really want to hear about the products quite yet. They're great ideas, but they're all predicated upon having a very sound Apple Intelligence system, you know, operating and working, and we haven't quite got that yet. But I have my own theory about why that is the case. Don't think Apple is suffering from a lack of talent like some people have been speculating. I think it is just kind of their culture in the company. They're not willing to put an unpolished product out there that glitches and doesn't work 99-100% of the time, whereas some other companies, to their credit, for example, Google, they will put their neck out there, they will get it wrong, they'll build a base of users who like the product but who would like it refined, and then they'll kind of iterate from there and keep iterating. That really hasn't been Apple's.
You don't think it's a talent issue?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. And some of the engineering breakthroughs as well with respect to the foldable phone is Apple is apparently one of the first companies, if not the only company in the world, to be able to actually make the foldable without a crease.
Yeah.
So that's not small.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, but this is what I'll have to say. Again, I don't know too much about the internals of what's going on with Apple, but how do you go from releasing Apple Intelligence on the iPhone 16 to now you having to team up with Gemini in order to kind of get out that Apple Intelligence?
I just finished explaining it. So I don't think that they've gotten it right in the way, because look, you use LLMs all the time, right? You use LLMs, I use LLMs. Yeah. Can you say that it doesn't glitch, that it doesn't hallucinate?
Of course they do.
It's constantly making mistakes. So I don't think they've been able internally to perfect that technology. And none of them have. Claude hallucinates, Gemini hallucinates, Chat hallucinates to no end. So does Grok. Yeah. They all constantly make mistakes. And I think what they were trying to do was to try to be able internally to find some sort of algorithm that checks to see if it's making mistakes. So even Gemini.
In my opinion, I think that slightly stems to a talent issue if you have to bring in a secondary.
But brother, no other LLM is able to do it. So how is that a talent issue? Well, nobody else is doing it.
No one else is getting it perfect, so you have to come to the realization that, hey, we're not going to get it perfect, but we're still not releasing anything.
And that's kind of what I want what I wanted to get to was, at what point do they say, is the product good enough that they release it? You know what I mean? Otherwise, because you got to think about it from a PR perspective, right? If they keep putting it off and saying, well, you know, they don't really give us the reason, right? We have to keep speculating why they keep putting it off.
And what I'm going to say here as well, too, Sharif, is that none of these products are
finished, but it's okay.
What's that?
It's okay. Go ahead.
I'm going to say nothing's perfect. But you got to take into consideration how many monthly users does ChatGPT have?
Sure.
How many monthly users does Gemini have?
Right.
So would you not want to start to grab some of that market share?
I personally would, but Apple already has about, I think, 2 billion
iPhones
out there, right? So
totally...
I don't think that that's really the concern, that they get active users. The active users, I think, are at the established bases there.
It's there for sure.
But I think it is the culture of the company not wanting to put an unrefined product. I think that's and you can disagree, and I respect your opinion, but I'm not going to change my mind about how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So let's see what else. All right, personally, why, man? Because we're disagreeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Get it together, man.
Yeah.
All right. So that's kind of how I feel about that. And I also think that, you know, they suffer because of this kind of culture of perfection that they have in the company, because they're not kind of getting the what they call early adopters to use their product. All those early adopters, they go to Google, right? Because Google is willing to kind of make mistakes. I use Google, what's it called, Docs every single morning. It's horrible. It's horrible compared to Microsoft. Like when I hit Control-Z, or, you know, just to kind of go undo, it undoes like 3 or 4 steps back. Why? Right? And that's constantly like happening with that. And then the formatting in Google Docs. You come to change formatting, it screws up the entire thing. Why? Because it's an unrefined product, but they are willing to put their necks out there. Whereas, you know, Apple isn't. So that's kind of what I have to say about that.
People think we're fighting when we just don't agree on this.
I don't know. I don't really care, bro.
It's just like you got to have a conversation here once in a while. Not everything is going to be seen eye to eye. But there it is, guys. IBIT. There's TQs still climbing a little bit higher. Diet soda. That's funny. All right, diet soda, TQs. Nice move to the top side. IBIT continuing to climb, so downtrends have been officially broken right now as the big boys are making new all-time highs, or not high of the days, I should say, and it looks like they're going to continue that way. Tesla continuing to climb as well, too, breaking through this key pivot. You get that pullback, you get the hold, and then maybe we can see if we're going to continue to move to the top side on today's intraday session. At the end of the day, it's all led by this one right here, Apple, 263.82, NVDA, leading the way as well, breaking through some of Friday's pivot levels, we should say. No session yesterday, and continuing to climb a little bit higher. So the big boys leading the market a little bit to the northeast, and that's what you want to see. Multiple breaks of trend. Let's see if that's going to be sustained here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, the debate is good, T-Money. That's how the exchange of ideas are done. Guys, SGN just lost it and lost it in a hurry. It got to 34. That's where I drew my line in the sand. It is done. It's already going to lose 32. It's already losing VWAP. And it looks like it's headed down possibly into 31. I want to say between 30 to 31. That's where the former area of support, resistance. Let's see if it acts as support. So a bit of a tough one there. We'll give some back on SGN. Let's flip from SGN. Let's go back to OLB, though, because OLB looking a lot better. Now, this one is topping tail. Every time it gets into that 130, 135, it is finding resistance there. But the other side of that coin is that it's continuing to put in higher lows. So if you can pick it up towards the lower end of the range like it did over here, I think you got a good recipe for success. That is, of course, until, you know, that 135 seller comes in, who's been coming in a lot. The 130 to 135 is kind of what I mean by that, and pushes this one back down. BDMD is also making a move. Oh, sucks to be me. Took that out at 116 for a couple of penny winner, and now this one is about 3 pennies off the high of the day. There it is, into 128, 129. It just touched the high of the day. Here it comes. Now, this is the 3rd time we've been up here. The initial pop-up, 10:15. We got up there again, 12:45, and here we are again, 135 at that same level. The only difference is between those levels, or the price action then at those levels and now, is that we have higher lows. So what does that mean? That means we got an ascending wedge pattern forming. At least we do on my black charts over here. So there we go. There's that one, let's say, high 20s, low 30s, area resistance once, twice. OB, here's the one thrice. Thanks, OVB, for being on. And then we got the higher low pattern the entire time. Now, this one has had trouble with volume at times. As you can see, I got caught in that multiple times, and we did end up holding VWAP, so we didn't take a hit on it, but the volume drops off and then you get no price ascension. So BDMD definitely in focus here, especially if he takes out that 133 area. And then Atom, the best one on the day, I would say for me, finding some support here at 5 2/3, but that was that 560 to 565 area we talked about. That was a bit of a flat top break, had a resistance level from 1225 to when it cleared it at 1250. So it's there. It's putting in bottoming tail candles. The only problem is it's still putting in lower highs. So this current bar actually has a higher low than prior bar. So if you got in here at 74s, you could give it to prior bar low, which takes you to 62s. It's not actually a bad setup. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Let's go back over here to Atom. Let's see if we can get in here with a, I'm going to give it to a little bit more than 65. So I'm going to give it to 60s just so that I don't get stop hunted. But we're going to get in. Let's see. What do we get there? We got 72s. Let's give it to 60. So we'll go just like that, and we'll give it a little bit of room there. And then what do we got? What do we got? We got 72s? Fine. All right. Let's go ahead and wait at 80s. Pops up to 78s, and then we're going to wait at 88s. Ideally, we get a test to 6. Now, we did kind of get a test to 6 earlier, 598, but it was a double top. The 1 o'clock candle, the high is 98. And the 115 candle, the high is 98. So we know there's a 98 seller. And I won't be convinced any different. It's about whether or not we'll be able to take him out. Now, I have to mention something. Even though the 98 double top, there are no closing prints above 90. So we know the shorts are getting aggressive from that 90 penny level onwards, right? Because you only had 2 topping tail candles into 98, and it spent no time there. So watch out for that as you approach 90 here, possibly. If you approach 90 on Atom, watch out for a bit of a resistance level. Lemon Family says ONDS. Let's take a quick look at ONDS. Big breakout. Nice call out, Lemon Family, man. This is a good looking one. Midday mover here, getting a real good volume spike. Oop, my bad. ONTS. There we go. Sorry, guys, 5 minutes. There we go. Nice breakout there, man. Very clear breakout above 9.5. What's the high on this? I think it is like 993. Yeah, 993 high, guys, on ONDS. This is a great one. Thank you for calling this one, Adam. But be careful with this one, guys, because you never really know. But there goes Adam, man. There we go. Good look. Taking out my orders. Still a couple of one order left there at 88. Current bar high 85. Looking for continuation. Let's go ahead and wait into the 90s as well. We're going to wait at 94s. So we have 72s, just got with the beak at 82, looking for a move into 88s. There's 87. Can we get a little bit higher? Seller at 87 here that we can't shake, and the spread is opening up. All right, just let's continue to watch here. We hang out at 87s, 88s. No immediate move into the 90s. I'm waiting at 88s and then 94s. Nothing yet. There's 88s on the ask, and there is the print. All right, into 89 we go, 90 we go. Look for continuation into 6 now. Don't forget the selling by the shorts or the profit takers is coming in aggressively from 90 onward. So we may not even make it up into 98. Now, if we do make it up into 98, that's the level. If we can take out that 98 seller, be on the lookout for what's at 99 and the whole dollar or whatever, but that is where we double topped earlier. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm going to look to take out some more here into that whole dollar level, Joe. If we can get above that whole dollar, I'm likely going to add north of 6.
All right, guys, I'm still looking at this Apple continuing to climb a little bit higher. We were talking about an inside day not too long ago, and then now we breached that. Given up, we're heading into Friday session right now, so 264.59, almost 60s right there, and you're about a quarter of the way into Friday session. So yeah, man, this is a big-time breakout in Apple. You had the strong momentum to the downside, and you thought that would be continued, but you get a massive rebound as well. And even on the intraday, Microsoft starting to climb a little bit higher. And you can see from a daily perspective that the buying pressure is slowly starting to kick in. You have a nice move there, you come back, and then now you're starting to form a little bit of a base. And surprisingly so, if we're looking at Microsoft, how much of a percentage? 27%. And then we only have the Qs down, I think, around 10% or so, a little bit less now, maybe even right around that mark.
I think the
no, it's like 5%, bro. No, down from the previous high. Yeah. It's down 5% from that specific level. And we were at the earlier of the day, it was like 6.25 or something along those lines. So, I mean, when you have Microsoft down 27%, and then you only have the Nasdaq down 5%. It's pretty interesting stuff. And the same thing here with NVDA. You're down 12%, so that's not bad. And Amazon's been getting hit significantly heavier. So the market is holding up relatively strong, 22%. So you could talk about bear territory. And the same thing with Tesla here, Sharif.
Yes,
you run into that $500 mark, and then you're down 17% off of that specific zone and holding up relatively strong. I don't know if these support levels are going to break or we're going to continuously hold these as support and then maybe continue to climb lower. But I said, hey, watch out for some liquidity grabs and those necklines to be snapped. Are we going to compare these guys to the Robinhood? Because that's exactly what happened there, and that's exactly what happened in Palantir as well. As you head through those necklines and then you continue that trajectory to the downside, it's the same narrative. You want to wait for these trend lines to be broken, and then I think on the backside of them, on the north side of these trends is when you really, really want to start to engage. And we can go across the board on multiple of them. I think it's a little bit different in the smaller caps, right? Like you head into the quantum space, it's just not looking good whatsoever. Quantum computing, QUBT over here. Oh man, man. That's tough, man. Yeah, it's really tough. Down 68%. Like,
and unbroken. Look at that trend line.
It's unbroken, man. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough, right? Like you want to get out of them. And then if we head over to the BMNRs of the stock market,
oh god, then you get lost 20, bro.
Yeah, and then you get.
I'm still holding that.
From bro, you said you were gonna get out. You said you were gonna get out.
No.
You're just gonna hold.
Okay,
that.
So I'm only out of the money on two positions: Joby and BMNR.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I can stomach those two.
I'm out of the money now on iBit, on Robinhood, and on Netflix. No. Meta, I'm still holding on.
I bet I'm like barely in the money, but like it's like, you know, you're in the money one day, you're out of the money the other. I don't care, bro. I'm fine with that. I've got patience for that one.
Patience for days. But you know what Drake once said, though, Sharif?
Yes, sir.
He said he didn't want to be rich when he was 40. He wanted to make it now. Right? So every day that passes by,
yeah, I love
I'm
that.
not as rich.
No, I like that, bro, because if I knew things were going to be the way they are in my 40s, I would have taken it easier in my 30s. I wouldn't have been...
From like CapEx?
In life decisions in general. Put it that way, okay? Life decisions in general. I would have calmed the hell down a little bit.
There's nothing worse than scrolling through your Snapchat reel and being like, man,
no, it's not good. It's not good. Especially the memories. Have you seen some of those Snap memories come up there? Delete.
Yeah.
Delete.
Dismiss.
No,
but I like self-inflicted pain, and I'll scroll down to like the teens, like 17, 18, and I'm like, man.
But some of them are good times. Like sometimes, sometimes I don't mind too much. But some other times it's like, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah, but I mean, like. I'll just say it, man. Spending $600-700 at the club every weekend on bottles was not necessary.
No, man. Why were you doing it every week?
Well, not every week, but more often than not.
But a lot more in the summer.
Yeah,
fair?
Exactly.
Fair?
A lot more in the summer.
A lot more in the summer.
But dude, you got to take into consideration.
Could see a trip in there.
So you got to take into 2017. I'm living in Liberty Village. We're fresh. We're doing good. And there's a club just down the road called Showtime Saturday. Showtime Saturday, right?
All right.
It's called Club 42, and that's where everybody from Liberty Village went on a Saturday. And
you're still there, that's the thing, but you're a lot more...
except for I could care less to go outside.
Hey, there's my boy.
You know what I mean?
No, your boy Joey Armstrong.
Hey, man, don't forget, we saved the money as well, too. We just had a little extra. You got to take into consideration, you're paying $1,000 a month in rent.
Easily, bro.
Right?
And those were the good days, too.
Between me and my friend.
Those were the good days,
Between me and my friend, a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, everything en suite, and nothing parking included as well. So,
yeah, bro, I give you credit, man.
Easier.
I would give you credit. A lot of people didn't move out into their 30s. Bro,
I think that's the smartest thing you could do.
Yeah, well,
like if you're
going to save. If you're going to save. If you're going to be putting the money away.
I was fortunate enough to be in a position where things weren't, like, the expense of living wasn't really elevated, and I had the ability to save, right?
And you had a roommate, which was really important.
Hence had a roommate, so hence years later, surprisingly, we did have a lot of fun, but considering the investments and everything, that's when we bought the condo in 2019.
I remember that, bro, and that's probably the best move ever.
Well, then we sold it in 2020.
And then you made some money.
We made
some money.
Well, as per that,
there you go, bro. I mean, are you kidding me?
Robinhood and all.
There goes Adam, man, into the hot mid-90s. We're going to have trouble here, guys. I got the beak wet at 94s. That is the candle high. I'm not even sure how I got that since it didn't cross, but there goes, man. Up and at 'em, says Hangry Wife. It is up and at 'em. But Hangry Wife, be careful here because it's having a lot of trouble and has been having a lot of trouble since with 90s ever since we cleared that level decisively at 1. So 45 minutes of trouble. Now on the 1 minute is trying to put up higher lows. It looks like it's headed right back down. If that's the case, then 6 is obviously that area top, 590 to 6. I'm going to stop out here if it comes anywhere near my entry. I've got 72s, still showing 86s, but ATOM, it's not even that big. It's up 48, about 50% on the day. I'm keeping an eye on that one. I know everybody loves that up and at 'em thing. Shout out to Otta Lion. Probably butchered that. I do apologize. But all 4 major averages now are positive, Joey. The Qs barely. The Qs are up 0.1. The Dow and the Rust both up the same, 0.3. And then IWM just trailing behind them by a bit, but that could change here up 0.28. So it is really the weakness in the Qs, and that's because Microsoft is negative, Google is negative, Tesla is negative, NVIDIA decidedly positive, Amazon not too bad, 1.13, Apple leading the way up 3.65, and Meta flat, 0.13. I told you I got out of my Meta position, eh?
Yeah, you did.
I got the hell out of there.
On that pop. Was it after the earnings report?
So
right?
I got out half on the earnings pop, and then it came back in, filled the gap from the neckline break. I got the hell out of there.
And then that's when you said AC later.
No, bro. I mean, I get what's his name is working into it. No, the other guy. What's his the tall dude? Forget his name, man. Anyway, he's working into the position, and. Yeah, I get it. He says it's undervalued. I realize that it's undervalued. I think they have a lot of contingent liabilities that they have to take care of.
Yeah.
I want to see how these trials do in the States. You know, that one main trial? Zuck apparently is going to testify soon. It's about addiction for teens, right?
The kids, yeah.
Joey, there is apparently, if you believe the reports, thousands, if not almost thousands, of pending litigations that are centering around this issue. Yeah. So one thing is you could certify them as a class, and then all of a sudden you got to pay out class, class action damages, or you have to go and defend each one of these bad boys individually and pay out.
Which would cost a lot of money.
That would be crazy.
But I mean, like, we already look across the board. We see what Australia is doing. We see what Europe's doing with Instagram and stuff. There's an age limit, right? So the case isn't necessarily there for Zuck. It's going to cost him a lot of money.
It's going to cost him some money. And think about this too. They even talked about it. Snap talked about it. Snap said they got clipped on their DAOs, or daily active users, as a result of, well, it's a one-off hit, to be fair to them, but because of what Australia did with the age limits, they saw a drop in their daily active users. So you have to assume we're going to see that on Meta's platforms as well, right?
Exactly.
I know that the kids...
If that is implemented, obviously.
If that is implemented. I think the European countries probably will beat us to the punch there. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Guys, I'm still holding here Atom because it keeps printing 90s. I'm looking at adding, if this one can take out $6, $5.98 high. If this one clears 6, I'm going to wait for, that zig and zag that typically happens at the whole dollar. A little above 6 as it clears, it drops back down as people take profits. Shorts get into it. And then, it dips into the mid-90s only to clear 6. So that's what I'll be looking for there specifically on Atom. Otherwise, I don't take any more prints, and I have no more resting orders. As you can see there, nothing here doing. So either it's going to stop me out below 70, or I'm going to add to this one through 6. We'll have to see if the show is done before that. What else we got over here? What else we got? Some outsized names. Let's bring in and look at some of the watch list here, because there's some outsized names that are catching my attention. So in my semiconductor microchip watch list, you got Light, LITE, up a ridiculous amount, 8.5%. I brought this one to you guys before. They make optical and photonic products enabling optical networking and laser applications. They are very much intertwined with the AI trade. LITE is the ticker. They're up monstrous today, 8.5%. This is the daily. If you want to take a look at this, Joey. Look at this, Joey. I mean, like, I keep giving you all this one, man. This has ranges, man. 528 low, 612 high today. That'll put some hair on your back there, man. Hair on your knuckles,
on the chest.
On the chest too. Well, we already got.
What would you rather punch into, LITE or cat?
Cat. I'm in Cat, right? Cat's getting clipped today, if I'm not mistaken. We're down 0.8, but yeah, Cat looks like it's on its way to 800. I had to wet the beak. I wet the beak at 700. Yeah, and I messaged Neil. I was seeing whether Neil wet the beak as well. He was wetting the beak as well. You have to, man. It got too big.
Yeah.
Joey, since the tariff tantrum lows, we're up 200% on Caterpillar.
Only to get, I don't think necessarily the same thing is going to happen in the Caterpillars like we see the Palantirs and the Robin Hoods, though, just because of obviously the massive data center build out and just their ability to construct the actual grid. But when things start to cool down, I don't think even so you'll see a pullback.
And remember what's with the generators. Remember we talked about this?
Yes, sir.
The generators, that's another Cat play there because the generators are a 2-year backlog. I don't think the viewers can listen to me say this story anymore because I've said it multiple times, but there's a backlog of generators. It's about 2 years, believe it or not. And the reason you need generators for these data centers is because you can't allow electricity fluctuations whatsoever. I forget the word, but all the chips, they've got to be harmonized on the same wavelength. If there is ever kind of a disruption in that, they lose that harmony and you got to reset the whole thing. So one thing that, you know, tenants are asking for, data center tenants like Softies and Amazons, is what's your uptime, and the uptime has to be damn near 100%. Otherwise, they're not interested. So, yeah, that's the look there. And guys, here we go. Now we're showing 94s. We are about 4 pennies off the day high here on Adam. Let's see if we can see some selling. And it's all hidden, guys. Look, there is nothing posted on the gateway. You're seeing 1s, 2 single digits all along, whether it's 90, 91. So it looks like we're possibly accumulating here for a $6 break. That's what I'd be kind of trying to build a position for. I try to build a position towards the lower end of the range, 575 to 2/3 for a possible $6 break. But I also want to bring your attention to OLB because this one is also accumulating south of that 130. It is putting a whole bunch of higher lows. So that 130 to 135 area resistance could be a breakout as well with good volume on this one. I think we've done about 365 million shares on OLB, so plenty of volume there. And then SGN, is that one moving? I think I have OLB and SGN on the same screen. Yes, SGN trying to break back above 36, but this one is still suffering from lower highs. So an unbroken downtrend on SGN. This is kind of what I'm looking at there, guys. That trend line has to break before I get back in there. But as I see it, Atom just dropped right back down into that 85 penny area. Let's see if it holds up here for a $6 break, Joey.
Yeah.
About 5 minutes left on the show, brother.
Man, this Apple is not slowing down whatsoever, man. I mean, yeah, we went over this here earlier, the acceleration of the development of AI power, just fast tracking a lot here, and the street really liking this right now, guys. So I'm thinking like, hey, am I going to get somewhat of a pullback and maybe find somewhat of a retracement play in the TQQs? You can't. Like it doesn't matter. You can't short this right now with Apple doing with what it's currently doing, now up to 265. What is it from a percentage metric up today? Like the AAPL, let's figure it out right now. I mean, this is insane. This is a big time move. And this is what you want to see. It's going to help hold up the overall market. You're up 4% almost today, 3.9%. Now you're going to touch 4% here momentarily, 3.96%. Yeah, you can't. And even though as much as I want to, and I'm feeling a little bit of FOMO, Romo, whatever you would like to call it, Tony Romo over here, yeah, we were involved at the right time, and then sure enough, we got out, unfortunately, at the wrong time. So that's the nature of the beast. As Zim is continuing to head a little bit lower here, Silver, a nice recovery heading towards the key pivot level as well, too. In this neck of the woods, guys, rejecting that. And same thing with Bitcoin, right? You had that pop, just the overall market buyers stepping in here and then continuing to climb a little bit higher. But now you have the TQs breaking through that pivot zone at $48 and then running into $49 right there. So keep an eye out on that, guys. Market really, really strong. Rich Tech Robotics, what have you been up to? Getting smoked, that's for sure. Do I have, what's BBAI up to? $4. Oh, damn, 407 on that one. We're going to pull up something here momentarily. I heard there's been a couple DQs in here, Sharif, disqualifications, that is. There's been, yeah, there's asterisks now against some people's names.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, here, Randy, this is the iffiest addition. Yeah. And then Mateo, who put the Mateo one down there, doing my boy dirty? Was that you, Katina, man, putting up the asterisks on Mateo over here?
What happened?
All right, so that was Fabian over there. Considering, I don't know, were you here when I said we're making up rules as we go now, Sharif?
Yeah.
So
they were never defined.
So the new rule is if you go down 25%, are automatically eliminated. Just like Dara, we're making the rules up as we go here. I don't know. You don't ask questions. We just go with the flow. We're down 2.5% here, Sharif. Sharif down 3.8%, and Fabian sitting in that 6th place, so down 25. I'm just joking. I'm being highly sarcastic. Hey. No, I'm joking. I'm just making it up. So there it is. Yeah, I'm making things up as I go with this one. Ramin almost on the brink of elimination at some point.
Just eliminate her now, bro. Her indifference is her greatest strength.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell her that all the time. She doesn't give up. Bro.
Sean almost on the brink of elimination there too, brother. Down 14%.
Well, that's what happens when you go up 500,000% the year prior,
gotta give him credit. Yeah, exactly. A couple 100% over there. So
all right, guys.
Tough look.
It's 170. All right, Katina, man. he knows the number. Guys, we're still holding Adam over here, but we're going to flatten out because there's a few minutes left on the show, and I'm going to take it out in the high 80s. It does look like it is really accumulating again at around that 90 penny level. My concern is there aren't enough buyers here to take out that seller at 90 because that's been a staunchy seller ever since we got into the level at 1 o'clock, so that's the better part of an hour. Now, mind you, we're accumulating at this level, Katina, man. We haven't lost the level, so this could be, the accumulation, yes, for lack of a better term, through the break of 6 to 598. We are putting higher lows generally on the current 5-minute candles. That is something to look out for. I also want to bring your attention to OLB. It has been a decent upward channel all day with a 135 high, so be on the lookout for that. I said very little about PLYX, and that's because it was below VWAP for the majority of the morning. So this one did have that big price. I'm going to have to remove this candle because it basically is distorting all the other. But this was a real move, guys. So it rocketed up in the pre-market. That's not the point. The point is it hasn't got on anywhere near close to that pre-market high. And even when it opened up, it's been suffering from the double top and VWAP as resistance. 505 high where it double topped, and now it's down into 4s. Can't really shake that level. I'd be looking for PLYX to possibly make a move in the aftermarket. I've seen this before where a big pre-market mover has a huge outsized pre-market, does nothing midday, and then the halt parameters get shut off at 4 o'clock, and all the degens, like myself included, their hands start shaking and they need to punch into positions, and PLYX is chief among them. So be on the lookout here. PLYX could be a good breakout aftermarket. If you're trading aftermarket, that's one to look at there, Joey. Yeah. As we wind down the show, leave them with a couple of thoughts.
A couple of thoughts, man. Well, we'll talk about our artistic skill a little bit later. We're not going to do that right now. Hey, no.
We got all the time in the world.
First. I noticed Sia isn't in this. Considering we're just adding people left, right, and center, we may as well get Sia in here. And I want to ask her, and I'm going to put her on the spot right now. I don't know if she's ready. If you were to pick 3 names, Sia, for your picks, she's muted for 2026. You got to turn that.
You're muted.
Turn the mic on.
Okay,
not muted. What would your 3 picks be for 2026? Your 3 stock picks.
Well, if you had to pick 3 stocks to invest in and then see how they do at the end of the year, which 3 would they be, Sia?
Yes.
I think I would pick. Can I pick an ETF?
Give her time. We can give her more time.
Would you like time? Would you like time?
She said ACF though. Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah,
she said one of that.
Anyway.
Yeah.
No, can I have an ETF?
And an ETF. All right. Well,
I think it would be Vanguard, the high dividend yield ETF.
For the market, Sia, the Vanguard ETF market for which one?
The high dividend.
High dividend.
High dividend.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I would also one of the stocks that I've been wanting to buy is Ulta Beauty.
Ulta Beauty.
Ulta. Okay. All right. So there it is. Bang. We'll get those. We'll get the.
Yeah, we can do that. Ulta's at, I think it's at all-time highs, is it? Hold on, let me just flip to that because that's a great call. Yeah, man, all-time highs. Sia, okay.
Put her in. Put it in there. Ulta, she said. Ulta. So Fabian, you've seen that Abercrombie and Fitch and the Vanguard high yield dividend right there. So
no, not Abercrombie and Fitch. It's just something I own, but I wouldn't like
Well, we asked you which ones you want to put in.
So the Vanguard, the Alta, and one of them I would say would be the iShares Silver Trust ETF.
Silver
SLV.
Trust ETF.
Yeah.
Okay, SLV.
I like
there
it.
it is.
I like it. All right. Now let's get the most important part of the show over here. So before you show this, Assassino, so Joseph Options and Selena, his girlfriend, they had a special Valentine's Day. Part of the special, kind of events was that they were going to draw one another. I think that's pretty cool, right? But when we have a look at the paintings, we can see who carries the talent here.
I said
I love you, Joey.
Yeah.
Let's bring this in. Hold on, man.
But see, I knew I was in trouble when she started mixing
She's
colors.
really good.
I knew I was in trouble when she started mixing like tones and everything, and I'm like, man, well, I didn't really know what to do here, so.
She's obviously really good.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously. Yeah, I'm like, and she showed me around, I'm like, man.
Why did you do her eyes like that, Joe?
Come on, man.
Look how she's got your eyes all almondy,
skin tone is
right?
way
And you
too
got
dark.
the green eyes on.
Yeah.